What's going on, my fellow A-plussers? Welcome back once again to a brand new episode. It is I, your more phenomenal host, as always, Adam Perez, coming through with a brand new episode for A-plus More Phenomenal, your stop for your Power Rangers, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider news and reviews right here on our YouTube page. Also streaming live on Facebook as well, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us once again for another Saturday afternoon. Kicking off our weekends right. We got some Power Ranger Dino Fury episode that hit us early this morning. We're going to be breaking down episode number 6 for you guys. We got a ton of Kamen Rider 50th anniversary announcements for you guys. Also going to dabble a little bit into some tokusatsu stuff for you guys as well. And certainly a ton more because we also have your guys as live viewer questions to go ahead and tackle towards the end of this episode, guys. So thank you very much for certainly joining us live from Fort Worth here, guys. I'm actually going to be moving out here to Fort Worth over the next several weeks. I think my lease actually ended in the end of March, but I'm just paying month to month right now while I go ahead and clear out my apartment and slowly move into here. So you're probably going to have some new scenery hopefully here within the next couple of weeks. Me and the girlfriend are actually going to be working on one of the spare bedrooms that she has and kind of turn it into an office for myself, if you will. So definitely going to be a ton of new things going on for A+ More Phenomenal over the next couple of weeks. So if you start seeing my old apartment kind of dwindling down a little bit over the next couple of weekends, you guys certainly know why. Yeah, guys, we got a ton of topics we're going to be breaking down for you. But before we get into any of that, you know how we like to do around here. Got to give some shout outs to those that are certainly joining us. And of course, if you guys are in the live chat, do us a big favor, man, especially if you come by week to week and you love our content, hit that like button, guys. Give us that big thumbs up. Let's go ahead and skyrocket past 50 likes this week if we certainly can, guys. So let's go ahead and hit that button and let's do some shout outs here. What's up, Noah? Certainly good to see you in the house today with us. We got Blossom in here also. Appreciate you coming through, L'Oreal, as always. I'm handsome. Thank you very much, man, for certainly coming in here today. Adrian, what's up, Adrian? He says, what's up, everybody? Guess who got engaged last Wednesday? Congrats, man. Big congrats. I'm curious when the wedding day is and if I'm invited. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to invite me, man. But I do love me a great reception. That's for sure. Power Rangers Legacy. Adam, you know what time it is. It's morphin' time. And we're going to get into all the Power Ranger talk for you guys today. Frankie, what's up, Frankie? Appreciate you stopping by with us today. Johnny Marrero's in the house. Good to see you, Johnny. Charles, what's up, Charles? He says, back in the late 90s, I created several Power Ranger sites and used primitive tools. No DreamWorks, DreamW. I'm not sure what that is. I had a site called Power Rangers Unlimited and Power Rangers Unlimited 2. They're still up and I discovered them. He says the other day, I had PR blogs too. Question is, if you read and told others and supported this blog and liked it as much as me, should I create it? Without your support, it wouldn't make sense. Well, hey, I will say this, without my support, it should still certainly make sense. If you feel passionate about it, if you love Power Rangers, if you want to continue to talk about Power Rangers, have your own particular opinions and your own voice that you want to be heard, doesn't matter what I think, man. At the end of the day, you should be creating content because you want to create it, not because other people want you to. So if you want to bring it back, Charles, do yourselves a favor, man. Certainly go ahead and do so. Melissa Benoist loves bacon and sushi. What's up, bacon and sushi? You going back to your old ways? Good to see your name around here again, man. Let's see here. JB says, what is in the house also? Edward Sanchez Productions is in here also. We got Enrique, another Perez. What's up, man? Good to see you in here. I remember you stopping by the past couple of weeks saying that hammer formation of the Dino Fury Megazord is amazing. Yeah, that Ankylozord formation looked pretty spectacular. We'll definitely talk about it for you guys here today. Alexis, thank you very much for certainly coming through today, as always. Appreciate the support. And of course, guys, as we wind up having other stragglers that wind up coming in, certainly go ahead and make them feel welcome throughout the day as they wind up coming in. And of course, always respect everybody's opinion for sure. Because again, these are always going to be my A+ opinions. But at the end of the day, we definitely want to go ahead and know yours, guys. So let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, if you guys do have any live viewer questions, you can go ahead and start submitting them over right now if you'd like to, till we get towards the end of the episode. You know, at the end of all of our episodes, we do tackle your questions just in case if I can't get to some of your comments throughout the episode. If you want to make sure any of your questions that you have definitely does get answered on air, definitely go ahead and submit them over to aplusmorephenomenal@gmail.com. Again, aplusmorephenomenal@gmail.com, and we'll go ahead and handle that for you guys also. One last thing of business, guys, before we actually get into this week's worth of episodes here. If you don't know, now you know. We do have ourselves a little bit of a Patreon. If you want to go ahead and support the channel in any way, we certainly would appreciate that, guys. Check it out at patreon.com/aplusopinions. We got to keep the lights on around here, right? We put out a ton of content on a weekly basis for you guys, not only on this site, but also our other site, A Plus Hero Report. So we offer early access content. We offer exclusive content over on our Patreon. So I would definitely recommend checking it out and see if it's something that definitely grabs your guys' attention. One of the reasons why I say that is because we actually do have ourselves several different tiers that you guys can actually go ahead and select from if you'd like to. Let me go ahead and pull this up for you guys, just so that you have an idea exactly as to what it is that we offer. But we do have a $1 tier, $5 tier, and $10 tiers, and all of them do in fact have exclusives or early access content for you guys. So definitely go ahead and recommend you checking it out. We got some audio only for our $1 tiers. We do some early access for our comic book stuff for $1 tiers. Also, we have access to our Discord community where we talk about a ton of news, not just Power Rangers, but Marvel, DC, and everything like that as well, guys. So definitely go ahead and check it out if you can. And for some reason, if you cannot support the channel that way, what certainly does help is subscribing to our channel and, of course, hitting that like button, guys. If you want to go ahead and support in any other way, it definitely does go a long way for us. So thank you very much for that also, guys. All right. Episode number 6 of Dino Fury has hit us. Listen, some of these episodes have been great, in my opinion. Some of these episodes have just been good or pretty solid, to say the least. But I got to tell you, I'm continuing to love the momentum that Dino Fury continues to bring to us. I haven't felt like I've watched just a horrific episode yet, or one that's kind of taken me out of this season. I've really enjoyed what we've gotten so far from not only just the cast members, but just some of the newness that the showrunner and Simon Bennett has definitely brought to this season, if you will. He has brought on brand new people in regards to the crew. You could definitely see a lot of the changes in some of the special effects, some of the set designs, definitely in the choreography. The writing has even stepped up specifically also. So a lot of things are certainly going in the way of Dino Fury. And I got to say, man, episode number 6 certainly comes through for me once again. This one titled Superstition Strikes, if I'm not mistaken. We get the wonderful and beautiful Hunter Deno, who gets to have the spotlight here this week as Amelia. And I got to tell you, her personality continues to be rather infectious to me. Not only is it just bubbly, but it's enthusiastic. And I feel like this is the episode where we kind of see, or at least learn, where she gets some of her superstition from, right? We get introduced to her Pop-Pop, which is in fact her grandfather. I'm curious if anybody else calls their grandfather Pop-Pop. I mean, I got Gramps, Grandpa. I have heard Pops before, but Pop definitely is a unique one. I am wondering if that's something that the writers came up with for Amelia, or if maybe that's even how Hunter Deno refers to her own grandparents. I have no idea, but interesting take. But I definitely feel as though if there is anybody that that Amelia has leaned on in regards to some of her supernatural ways or superstition, also is definitely Pop. I will say this. There are aspects about this episode that kind of do get to me. There are a couple of overacting moments in here, some overperforming, if you will. I don't necessarily know if I would put that in the reins of Pop, but I was not expecting him to have sort of that personality at all. It feels significantly different from that of Amelia. Not that they have to have the same personality, but for a second I thought I was listening to like Geppetto from Pinocchio. I was like, what's up with that, with the accent? Is this guy from the north? Is he like from Boston or from like Pennsylvania, Jersey, New York? Like where is he from? It makes me wonder where Amelia's family is from, just because of his just unique personality. I mean, I enjoyed it for sure. The fact that he is that friendly enough to go around and hug everybody he meets, right? Clearly gets along with Amelia's friends and things like that. We come to find out he's a window cleaner. I'm assuming he cleans windows not just for Buzz Blast, but that's exactly where we wind up seeing seeing him this week. So while it definitely Pop definitely did come across as odd to me, I had no complaints. I really kind of enjoyed the personality, and I like the fact that they gave somebody like Pop as much material as they certainly did to go ahead and shine on screen, because he did add an element of enjoyment for me. So I am glad that they at least allowed us to spend some time with Pop. I mean, I think we saw him like in like several different scenes or whatever the case may be. I loved his scene when the Rangers had to leave, and he's like, "Oh, you guys got to do one of those new dance moves or for those video craves kind of thing." I thought like the idea of Grandpa trying to find out like what's current, right, for kids these days. I thought that was pretty funny also. But him being the one to point out the idea that Amelia goes under the ladder for herself certainly doesn't help the situation, right? I mean, just based off of who Amelia is, you already know she's going to take that to heart. So again, we clearly find out where she gets her superstition from, and Pop definitely did not help her situation at all, bringing up some of his terrible luck, if you will. And then, of course, just seeing it roll downhill from Amelia after that. I mean, once you rip the sweater, it's just about to be bad luck the entire time. And there are aspects that I really enjoyed about Amelia this week, because there are elements to her bad luck that I feel like I can connect with. Like, I always feel like I'm that person that's like, man, I have the worst luck in the world, right? Like, how many people have you heard in your own life just reference something like that, right? Like, I've got the worst luck, guys. Like, I never win. Like, I tell people all the time when I go to amusement parks, right, and they have all those games and things like that, while I love playing them, I feel like I never win, although I have won one time. So I guess my luck isn't all that bad, right? I guess I should take the advice of Solon in here and maybe look at some of the good things out there in the world, because I actually have one of those. I remember I went to Six Flags once. They had like the 3-point shooting basketball thing. They have it's all the way in the distance, small rim, long ass net. Like, if you get it, you get one of these big stuffed animals. I wound up getting me a Bugs Bunny from like Space Jam or something like that. So I feel like that's one of the few times I've actually won the games. But I always refer to myself as somebody just has bad luck, that things just never seem to kind of go my way. If I can think of a terrible situation that might happen, it tends to happen to me. But I guess that's my negative mindset, right? And I think that's definitely what Amelia kind of experiences in here also, is that you focus so much on the negatives and the negative things that you've kind of experienced in your life, that you kind of just think that you have bad luck. And so when it happens, you just think it's a part of you. But the way to really get past that is to kind of push your mind forward and look at the brighter things, if you will. But I really love what we got with Amelia in here. Hunter Deno continues to do a brilliant job, if you ask me. Love to see her go one-on-one, not only with the villain of the week, but also Boom Tower. Also, like, Boom Tower is just a menacing dude. A quick honorable mention, though, I do love the fact that everybody seems to pick on Boom Tower in regards to how dumb he is. Like, even his own people, Mucus, like, duh, well, didn't you know that there was a force field that didn't let us get into the command center? Like, the fact that even Mucus is making fun of him. Amelia's like, did you just say Dune? Don't you mean done? Like, even clearly Boom Tower is not the brightest guy. All brawn, no bright spot, to certainly say the least, when it comes to Boom Tower. But I do love just the running gag of picking on him also. Amelia, I thought was great here this week. We do see that she winds up getting her morpher damaged, also even goes so far as to not even step on the cracks, right? Which is funny to me, because even Ollie picks on her as she's walking away from Pop and the rest of the crew, just bummed about the idea of bad luck about to hit her. The fact that Ollie mentions don't step on any cracks when you're leaving, and the fact that she literally tries to avoid the cracks, like, this is a really deep-rooted issue for Amelia. Like, I had no idea the issues went that deep for her as a character. Like, while I am superstitious from time to time, and I do have my conspiracy theories here and there, like, I don't know if I would take anything that seriously, you know what I mean? But that's just Amelia, and that's one aspect about her that I really do like. So to kind of see just everything start not going her way, her morpher not only being damaged but also yanked from Mucus, who goes yoink, just grabs it. Mucus again with the great lines, lol, instead of LOL, just just sounding it out. I really loved it. I really loved it. But yeah, you definitely get to see her bad luck currently on a streak for sure. But yeah, I definitely can relate, and I do think that this episode hits home for many, because I do feel like a lot of us in our times have said, I have the worst luck in the world, and it definitely showcased here for her also. But I will say, one of the things that I loved about this episode, despite the relationship that we've seen between Ollie and Amelia, I love the fact that when Amelia does get back into the game, right? Because she really hinders herself from even helping out the Power Rangers. Like she's really into her own head that anything that she does is just going to bring trouble, not only for herself, but her Rangers. And so she literally sits herself on the sidelines. I mean, granted, it probably helps with the idea that she doesn't have her morpher to get back into the battle, but Solon's asking her for her help and she's still kind of refusing to do so. But when she does get her mind right and gets back into the battle, I gotta say, I love the fact that even though Ollie and Amelia are not on the same page a lot of the times, the fact that he's the first one to be like, Amelia, I got your back, and just comes in and immediately starts helping her out, like the two of them start taking on Boom Tower. I think that speaks wonders to just their chemistry and their friendship that they're building. And really just the power of being a Power Ranger. I mean, granted, he does wind up even picking on her a little bit towards the end, right? Like when she seemingly has kind of come to her senses and he's like, wow, we actually agree on something for a change, right? I love the fact that Amelia calls him rude and just kind of gives him a pinch, because Ollie can come across as rude. He can definitely come across very headstrong, right? And very firm in his ways and his beliefs and his opinions. And that's definitely what we see in just his character description alone, right? So I definitely can see him coming across as rude from time to time. So I love the fact that Amelia kind of puts him in his place. And now we see Ollie kind of eating the bad luck bug for himself, right? The fact that it actually comes back to bite him in the ass, I thought was pretty appropriate for the Ollie character in here. But he looked like he had a ton of fun maybe doing that scene, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think there was a stunt double in that one, but maybe I'm wrong. I would like to know from Kai if he actually performed some of the the rolling in the carriage and the falling into the boxes type of thing. I wonder if he did that for himself or not. But it was pretty fun to see Ollie get his by the end of the episode for sure. I will say this: I continue to love the villains in here. Area 62 continues to really grow on me. We get to see that there is another portion of Area 62 that we were not privy to earlier on. A new door opening, if you will, just adding the mystery of what's behind this door, or what Area 62 certainly is, as we see Void Knight coming out of it, but having the room electrified once Mucus winds up trying to open it up for herself. So I am curious as to what's behind there. He probably takes off his armor behind those doors, revealing who's under under that mask, if you will. So just sitting on my hands patiently, trying to wait to see what this reveal is going to be, because I cannot wait. I love the fact that Mucus loves Void Knight's throne. Have we seen Void Knight sit on that throne as of yet? I'm trying to remember over the past couple of episodes if he's actually sat in it. I love the fact that Mucus is like, oh, I just love this. I love this seat so much better than the table that I sleep under. like she's an animal or some type of pet, or whatever the case may be. And in her impersonation of Void, I'm Void Knight. Like I love Mucus, which is crazy to me, because even in the Real Soldier counterpart, Crayon was my favorite character outside of Bomba. So the fact that they've allowed and brought that humor and that fun and just that kid-like personality to Mucus in here, done beautifully by the voice actor, also just really grows on me. One of my favorite characters in here so far, probably next to Zato, that I have so far this season. I've been really impressed with what they've been able to do with these villains. I love just their camaraderie, the great what does he say? Great inspirational speech, boss. I love the lines in here. Some of the dialogue can be pretty cringy in this episode. I can't lie, but there are still some really great lines in here and great moments of dialogue that I really appreciate. So a little bit of a mixed bag of dialogue with maybe some overreacting that kind of, threw me off a little bit. But overall, I still really enjoyed this episode. One of my favorite scenes in here, honestly, was the Solon and Amelia stuff. I thought this was a really great way to kind of temper down Amelia, if you will, right? We see her kind of, I don't want to say overreacting, but definitely feeling some type of way about all the bad luck that's coming into her life. I think Hunter Deno's got some great just sort of facial expressions for sure. When she definitely wears her heart on her sleeve, if you will, so you immediately know some of the things that she's thinking, whether she's laughing or sarcastic or wants to be witty or whatever the case may be. I think Hunter does a great job in bringing life to the Amelia character, which is some of her great expressions that she winds up having that we see all episode. But to be able to kind of take a moment from all of that and slow down and just have a really serious conversation with Solon. The Solon and Amelia stuff, I just honestly ate up. Really focusing, bringing up the idea that she's focusing on the negatives because of the fact that she's having a bad day. Solon mentions the idea that luck is really in your mind and it affects how you sort of see things, focusing on the bad stuff so much, but that the idea that good stuff is certainly out there. Again, we just really talked about that, right? They got to try and not worry about all the negatives that are out there in the world. And again, that's something that I tend to fight with also from time to time. So I love the fact that Solon just gives me that sort of personal reminder, you know what I mean? To not be so negative from time. Not that I feel that I'm negative, but I'm just saying the idea of having bad luck, right? Just thinking that bad luck is drawn to you. The idea of, you put negative thoughts out there, that's what the universe is going to give it back to you, right? So you got to put out that positive vibe out into the universe and it'll come back tenfold into your life. So I definitely do appreciate what the message that Solon was certainly trying to give, and wise, considering the fact that she's just a cybernetic robot or cybernetic dinosaur, I should certainly say. I love the fact that Amelia brings up just how wise she is. I mean, if you've been around the world 65 million years, I'm pretty sure you've probably learned a thing or two. You know what I mean? Another quick honorable mention, the Ankylo formation that we wind up getting in here. Amelia coming up with the great plan to go ahead and take out the monster this week, who had some really tough shields on his arms. They look like volcanoes on his arms. So I'm definitely having a difficult time breaking through his defenses. So we have Amelia with a brilliant plan to go ahead and use her Ankylozord to really be the forefront of our Megazord this week, and a great formation. This Zord even had a little bit of sass to it, some swag to it. It's like hands on its hip, you know what I'm saying? Like bouncing a little bit. You got the pink steam coming out and stuff. I mean, I thought it was a really great formation. Love the hammer, just that hammer fist, if you will. And then you get to see, I remember when I watched this episode as part of the real soldier aspect, they didn't play it up. If I remember correctly, I don't believe it was an idea of luck. I don't believe the theme of luck was the real soldier episode, because when I saw the Zord battle and I saw the Ankylo-Zord formation knock over the steam column, and then it's just a domino effect of everything else coming around to where it shoots the debris into the monster's arm, I was like, really? Come on. Come on. Like, no, I just can't. I can't get on board with it. But for some reason, for this episode, I guess just the fact that we were dealing with the idea of bad luck and good luck, that's definitely a form of good luck. That's really all it is, right? Because there's no way that certainly would happen. I mean, talk about just a massive coincidence. But again, it was just some of the dialogue in here that's just a little bit too on the nose, right? Like, that's just, I think it was something that Izzy reference. I think she says, oh, well, isn't that a coincidence, right? Like, just too many things that might have been on the nose this episode. Like, as a viewer, we see that and we think that. I don't necessarily know if we need somebody to reaffirm that with us all the time. And so I do feel as though sometimes they are a little bit too on the nose with their dialogue, at least in this episode. This episode, to me, it really kind of stood out more than it definitely did in the previous episodes. But didn't take me too much out of the episode, but I definitely was like, okay, all right. But I'm trying to think, and, she even mentioned something like, oh, well, that's cringy. Like, I just don't know if we need to make things like that aware to the viewers, because sometimes we already think it's cringy. And so if the if the person that's given the dialogue or the person on this show thinks it's cringy, yeah, maybe we just don't need the cringy dialogue. So I don't know, just something to remember. But other than that, I really enjoyed it. I thought they had some really great moments in this episode. So yeah, Pop definitely stood out to me. Infectious personality, very similar to that of Amelia, even though he does seem a little bit more on the Geppetto side from Pinocchio. Just an interesting accent and just a really fascinating love for people. So I love the fact that he definitely was definitely the open-minded one to certainly say the least this episode. But guys, listen, at the end of the day, these are just my A+ opinions. I certainly want to go ahead and know your thoughts. What did you guys think about episode number 6 of Dino Fury? Is there anything that I missed or any character moments that you guys certainly want to go ahead and talk about, or storyline plots that you guys want to further discuss? Let me know your thoughts in the live chat or in the comment section box below after this winds up airing. So let's go ahead and get to some of the comments, guys. Let's go ahead and talk about this episode a little bit more in detail and see what some of you guys are saying today. And then, of course, we'll give some shout outs to some people that wind up joining us a little bit late today. Man, I didn't get my water bottle ready. I'm gonna drink this water from last night. It's all warm, probably room temperature. Ugh. Although I hear room temperature water is like the best for you. Oh, by the way, side note, I get my second vaccination shot this Tuesday, guys. So I will be getting my up to date on this COVID thing, guys. So yeah. Let's see here. Bacon and Sushi says some people will say it's a filler episode, but it really isn't. This is Amelia focused. Remember, she is into the paranormal stuff since episode 1. But yeah, excellent episode. Yeah, I wouldn't consider this a filler episode at all. Video DVD, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through. Adrian says it was really cool to see Solon was able to fix Amelia's morpher just like the past mentors. Yeah, first off, I love the fact that Void Knight decides to come up with a great plan to actually use the morpher himself to go ahead and send Boom Tower into their base. You know, I am interested in the fact that Void Knight seems to be familiar with the morphers, huh? You know, the fact that he's technically savvy enough to go ahead and actually fix a Dino Fury morpher in order to get it to work properly for Boom Tower. I do wonder if that is a little bit of a sign as to who he is, right? Is he just a natural scientist that's great with technology and knows how to do that type of stuff? Is he a past ranger from the past to where he's familiar with how this morphing technology certainly works, right? You know, I would be fascinated. I wonder if that's a little lead in as to who this character could certainly be. Yeah, Enrique, look at that. Both Perez's loving the idea of Boom Tower using the morpher to kind of get into the base. Yeah, it was a great surprise. They certainly were not expecting it, expecting that to happen. But I love the fact that Solon points out, like, hey, Amelia, isn't it a good thing that you were certainly here, right? Pointing out the idea, like, hey, luck was on your side that you were here to certainly protect it, right? Because if she certainly wasn't, you know, Solon probably wouldn't have been able to handle Boom Tower, and Boom Tower would have gotten away with exactly what she needed it to. So yeah, it's just all about perspective, all about perspective. Oh, Johnny, thank you very much for bringing this up. No Jane or Jay Borg this week, right? You know, while I personally don't mind them, I definitely do know that there are some people out there that really just cannot stand Jane or Jay Borg, or at least have issues still with them. I personally don't mind them. I do like the way that they've kind of been utilized. You know, we talked a little bit about them last week. I appreciated them with the song to the kids and the PSA for the Ranger Hotline. I really enjoyed that. I can see the other aspect of things, their second appearance in last week's episode, maybe giving some people some hesitation. But the fact that we got no Jane and Jay Borg, I thought was a really nice touch here this week. Not that I didn't think that they weren't needed in here, but you know, the fact that you will now allow sort of that comedy, if you will, to kind of be put onto, you know, that physical comedy to be put on Ollie at the very end, I thought was a really great decision, honestly. And then of course some really great dialogue, also some cringy dialogue, some kind of on the nose dialogue, but also some great dialogue. The dialogue was a little bit all over the place for me, but I definitely had my moments. I enjoyed it for sure. Jared, what's up, Jared? He says episode 6 was really good. Definitely an Amelia episode. I'm really glad that you enjoyed it, Jared. I really do. I enjoyed it as well, so I agree with you there. What's up, Jordan? Thank you very much for certainly coming through today. We got Sarav in the house. Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming through. So Rob says, I think some from Filipino descent address their grandparents as pop pop. Interesting. Okay. I have to ask. I have to ask some of my friends. I do have some Filipino friends. I'll ask how they address their grandparents for sure. Johnny Marrero says the original fight scenes were amazing in a great episode of Amelia. Yeah, they were a lot of original footage in here. They also were referring to the boost armor as boost sleeves, which I thought was pretty cool. I think Javi winds up congratulating Izzy for getting a better handle on it. The sleeves look great. I love that shot of Izzy with the sleeve on, and she's holding the Sporex, and you see the rest of the Ranger team behind her. I think it's a beautiful shot. But you're absolutely right. A ton of great fight scenes and original sequences. I was trying to. I think there might have been maybe one or two shots that were Super Sentai, but I could be wrong in regards to that. I feel like a lot of this was original footage. Oh, you know what? Melissa Benoit says, I was a bit disappointed that we didn't get that epic group walk that's been in photos for this episode for 2 months now. That's right. We've even used that photo in our thumbnail once when you see them all just straight up in the line. I was really thinking we were going to get ourselves a traditional slow motion action, slow motion walk shot like the superheroes coming in like, oh, snap, Dino Fury is here. But yeah, we didn't get that, right? And they were wearing the same costumes, that green jean jacket that she rocks, Javi with the compact disc t-shirt, which, mind you guys, also I did purchase a couple of Dino Fury. Let me see, hold on, I'll go back to this here. I did go ahead and purchase a couple of Dino Fury t-shirts a couple of weeks ago. It's actually supposed to be delivered today. I was actually keeping my fingers crossed that maybe, just maybe, they would get here in time for this week's show, but unfortunately they just did not. So let me go ahead and bring this to you guys. If you guys are interested in picking up some merchandise, check this out, because they I saw this from Hunter Deno originally, and I feel like a lot of people have been picking up stuff from this site, but this is Carson's Corner. If you guys haven't been introduced to it, please go ahead and do so. Again, Carson's Corner. They got a ton of new products in here, from hoodies to t-shirts. Fellas, they even got boxers in here for you guys if you want to walk around feeling like a Power Ranger under your pants, out in public or in the comfort of your own home. I mean, they got everything in here. Some great t-shirts. I wind up picking up the green Power Ranger t-shirt that you see here. Got a rep for Izzy, and I also picked up the red Dino Fury t-shirt also for my boy Zato. And I'm actually thinking about eventually picking up a hoodie, probably in black, to represent my boy Chance, my brother from another mother. But again, this is Carson's Corner, guys. They even have some masks for you guys out there. Also, great selections of stuff for the ladies also and the men. So I would definitely go ahead and check out his stuff if you can. I'm going to go ahead and actually get the shirt and things like that this week. It should be delivered today, if I'm not mistaken, also. So once I get it, I'll probably, maybe do a little photo shoot myself. You know what I'm saying? I was gonna say start an OnlyFans, but no. Definitely, maybe I'll put up some photos on my IG page and Twitter for you guys to see how the shirts look. But I definitely would recommend checking it out for sure. Let's see here. What else we got? I'm Hanson with a little bit of a throwback here. He says this episode was similar to Ethan from Dino Thunder, who also had bad luck, but in this one it was Ollie who kept denying she had bad luck. Ethan kept denying until later. That's a great reference, man. I'm glad you brought that up. Blossom says Amelia really nailed it in the episode today. Yeah, I thought Hunter Deno did a brilliant job. Again, I love her facial expressions, the way that she expresses herself. You immediately just know her feelings in any particular scene that she's in. So yeah, I really did love Hunter Deno's work this week, man. Video DVD says this has been my favorite episode until now. The villain's plan was pretty good. I definitely agree with you there. Once again, it gave me RPM vibes where almost all the fights were original and no Sentai footage. Yeah. Again, I definitely feel you there for sure. I'm glad that it was certainly your favorite episode, video. And I agree with you. The villain's plan was pretty good. I'm glad that they haven't made them just like complete imbeciles or just idiots. You know what I mean? Somebody like a Void Knight really does go a long way, seems to have some brilliant plans, and you've got people that pretty much execute it pretty well. I mean, I know Boom Tower is not the brightest person around sort of thing, but the fact that he managed to infiltrate it, I thought was great. The fact that Mucus was able to steal a morpher for herself, yeah, they definitely are pulling their weight around here, even though a Void Knight clearly doesn't think that they are. Great inspirational speech, boss. I fucking love Mucus. Blossom also says, I vouch for Amelia's superstition side, but mine are for when I go to bed. I even have my Juro figure and Megazord next to my bed for luck. Listen, I've got some Puerto Rican boxing gloves hanging from my rear view mirror in my car. Goodness, I don't know if that's so Puerto Rican of me or what, but yeah, I've got like some boxing gloves out there for good luck. I've definitely had a rabbit's foot in my life or two, before, to say the least. I try not to, I honestly am try to be aware of like walking under ladders. I really just don't like. There are some superstitious things out there that I just don't I don't F with, man. I just don't. The stepping on the cracks thing. No, I'm just walking. My mom's fine. I've been walking just regular for years. My mom's just fine. Um, but yeah, there are some things that I feel Amelia on, and I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoy this episode, because I do have a superstitious aspect to me a little bit. And again, I've definitely have said, man, I've got the worst luck in the world plenty of times, so I can relate. I can relate. But Amelia's on a whole different level. Let's just understand that she's on a whole different level. Blossom says, "You're right. Karma sort of did bite Ollie on the ass. Am I right? Oh yeah, most definitely. Karma came back for him for sure. Like, oh, you think bad luck's not a real thing? Here, let's here you go." And I love the fact too that even afterwards, Ollie like references something like, what did I do to the universe or something like that, right? Going back to his very sort of logical sort of ways, if you will. And I love the fact that they just reminded her, like, I don't know, that might be considered bad luck for some people. Just throwing it right back in his face. Lindsay, what's up, Lindsay? Appreciate you coming through. She says, I still ship Amelia and Zato. Listen, that little moment that they had in this episode, I'm sure, is to the delight of many Amelia and Zato shippers, right? The fact that she didn't have her morpher and she looks at Zato like, hey, can give me a lift back up to the command sequence, the command center, and she like hooks onto his arm as they teleport and stuff. Yeah, I'm sure Amelia and Zato shippers were just eating it up. I would not be one, I wouldn't be surprised, and I definitely would be open to it. I think there's definitely still more for Zato to certainly learn, that fish out of water kind of thing. I just hope it's not something that they explore until the second half of the season, or at least the second season, I should certainly say. But who knows what they certainly build here. Who knows? Adrian says, is it me or the sound engineers for the Zords? They watched Dino Thunder and Dino Charge and recorded the same sound for the T-Rex and Triceratops Zords. They all sound the same. Yeah, I don't know if there's just regular, like how they have stock footage, if there's just stock audio, or if it's just, they just tried to find dinosaur noises. I don't know, Adrian. That's a good catch to see. If I would be curious how they do it. For me, I love just some of the sound engineering and the sound editing that they have in here. I was just watching again the morphing sequence, which again I was a big fan of, just because they gave us like the long morphing sequence, like a great roll call, everybody announcing themselves. I love the sound of the blade as it's like swiping through the air, and just the added special effects of the streaks that it sort of leaves behind. I love the sound in this show. It really pops for me. Johnny says, I'm curious what Void Knight is working on behind the door, and I hope we get a backstory on him. He's a very interesting villain. I definitely agree with you, Johnny. The fact that we get introduced to a new aspect of Area 62 just makes me wonder what's behind those doors. I do think that's the area in which he kind of either takes off his armor and reveals who he is. I'm wondering if he's just a regular pedestrian and that's his entrance, right? He gets done up and then comes out looking like Void Knight. Who certainly knows? But I am fascinated. I am fascinated. Not Ultra. What's up, Not Ultra? He says hello. As for this episode, it was only okay. I don't know if it was just me, but I feel like the acting and some of the dialogue felt a bit off for this episode compared to previous episodes. And I get you there for sure, Not Ultra. That's one of the things that I just talked about, right? Some of maybe the overacting seemed to maybe come in a little bit more this episode. Some of the dialogue, while I enjoyed some of it for sure, definitely made me laugh. There was some dialogue that was a little bit off, felt a little bit too on the nose or a little bit too cringy. So I definitely get where you're coming from in regards to that. Not Ultra. For me, I still enjoyed it. I thought it was a good episode and an enjoyable one for me. But I definitely get where you're coming from in the sense of just making it feel like it's okay. Again, one of the things that I'll say about this show is that I don't think that they've given us just an utterly terrible episode. One that's just, this was bad. You know what I mean? I feel like they've given us some really great and some really good episodes so far. And this one for me is certainly in line with that. Another one that I certainly enjoyed, at least. Tony, what's up, Mr. Robinson? Hello, Mr. Oh, that's Mrs. Robinson. Never mind. What's up, Tony Robinson? Good to see you in here, man. As always. Tokyo, what's up, Tokyo? One of my favorite Super Sentai seasons. Certainly great to see you in here. Now Ultra does say, he says, I did like Ollie's bit at the end, as it wasn't Jane or Jay Borg doing the bit. Yeah, the fact that they allowed those two comedic characters to kind of have kind of be off to the side and not be in this week's episode, but also to allow somebody else that's on the team to sort of have that physical comedy. I thought it was actually a really great touch. Not Ultra, so I agree with you there. Ooh, look at this. The girlfriend coming through with a coffee. Just what I needed to get me through this morning, man. There's this place out here, I think, in Fort Worth called Summer Moon, I think. Summer Moon Cafe, I think is what it's called. I'm definitely more of a hot coffee guy, but I feel like as the weather starts turning, I do love me the occasional cold coffee for sure. It definitely goes a long way. Let's see here. Who else we got? Sam. What's up, Sam? Appreciate you coming through. Hey Adam, you okay, mate? Dino Fury episode 6 was amazing. I can't wait for more. I am kind of curious when this hiatus is gonna hit. This is episode 6. I'm wondering if we're getting 2 more episodes and then the hiatus winds up hitting. The fact that we've gotten the episode descriptions all the way out to episode 8, I'm assuming if anything, that's probably gonna be the roundup. So 2 more weeks of new episodes. I'm hoping. I will say this: we do have ourselves a Hasbro Pulse Fan Fest that we're about to get this upcoming Friday. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, but honestly, one of my announcements that I'm hoping that they give us is like, hey guys, we're extending this first half of the season, no hiatus. Maybe that's too good to be true, but I would love for them to make an announcement like that. Marcelino, what's up, Marcelino? He says Zato trying to be a wannabe Eric wearing stupid hat. Good episode with Hunter's performance. Yeah, I thought Hunter Dano did a brilliant job here this week. Also, so yeah, shout out to Hunter Dano for just making this episode all about her for sure. Yeah, I kind of like the hat. I kind of dug the hat that Zeta was rocking. I appreciate the fact that we're getting new wardrobe for these characters every couple of episodes. DHR. Good thing Jay Borg and Jane are not in this episode, which made this episode watchable for me. Love it. Plus the action was good. See, I told you there are definitely some people out there that just don't F with Jane and Jay Borg, and that's certainly more than fine, right? Some people just do not like the comedy duo or that physical duo, that physical comedy, if you will. So I'm glad that this episode definitely worked for you, DHR. I would be interested to know if the Ollie stuff at the end worked for you also, because that probably would have been time for a Jane and Jay Borg moment. You know what I mean? But I love their choice this week. Adrian says, I'm still in love with the teleportation. So much better than the SUV or motorcycle. So much faster and futuristic. Yeah, the teleportation scene really works for me. There's even a great shot in here where they all, instead of just landing, teleporting all in a straight line, they wind up teleporting like in a circle with Izzy at the forefront. I thought that was a really great teleportation sequence. I love how they're getting creative with it. Goda says, loved Pop Pops. Wondering if Amelia's seeming lack of parents might be connected to her obsession with ghosts. Interesting. I don't know. I would be fascinated to know that. We haven't seen her parents. I am wondering if her parents are around or if they're not. The fact that she is the fact that we see her grandfather does make me wonder what has happened with her parents. So that's actually a good point, Goda. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, while I do give Pop Pops some heat for sounding like Geppetto, I did love what he brought to the episode. I love the fact that we got him in like 3 scenes, right, to just add a little bit more depth to a brand new character being introduced to here. He wasn't like just a one-off, if you will. I mean, not just one scene and then kind of ghosted. The fact that we kind of come back to him and see his personality, which definitely made me chuckle and made me smile for sure. But yeah, he's just a unique character. I appreciated Pop Pops for sure. Now Ultra says, I don't really see any ships this season, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not there yet. I'm always open to the idea if it makes sense for sure. But I haven't felt too much of any one thing being established as of yet. You know what I mean? I do think that maybe the Amelia and Zato stuff, maybe. But I have not really sensed it overly, like not blatantly in my face. But I'm okay with whatever decision they decide to make this year. I don't think every season needs to have a couple, you know what I mean, or to have a romance. And that's exactly what you said here. So I think we can take a break from romance and Power Rangers for a while. Yeah, I don't necessarily think we need it all the time. So I would be okay if we don't. Goda says, I love the emotional track that played again during Solon's pep talk. Yeah, that was my favorite scene this week, for sure. I love just the idea of them mellowing out a little bit, right? Amelia's kind of been heightened in this episode so much with her emotions and all the bad luck. The idea that they kind of took it down a notch, have that emotional track to kind of relax us a little bit, drop some knowledge on us from Solon. I thought was great. Who else we got? Kamen Rider 64. What's up, Kamen Rider? Appreciate you certainly coming through today as always. Oh, he says a new trailer for the Black Widow movie just came out. I'll definitely check it out. Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow on A Plus Hero Report. Midwest, what's up, Midwest? He says, I don't think I enjoyed this episode very much. I just found it to be a bit too cringy. Izzy summed it up perfectly. Yes, she see that, and that's the one thing I'm talking about, right? Like as viewers, we know it's cringy. I don't necessarily need a character to be like, oh, this is so cringy, right? Because then it just brings it, it makes it even more aware to me that it's cringy. I get you, Midwest. Like I said, I think you bring up some of the issues that I certainly had with it. For me, I was still able to roll with the episode, but I can see why some of those moments or those issues would certainly disappoint some fans and kind of take them out of the episode from not enjoying it fully. So I definitely get where you're coming from, Midwest. For me, I didn't. For me, while it hit me, it didn't take me out too much. I still really enjoyed it. I think for me, the Solon stuff really helped. The original footage, for the fight footage, what I thought was great. Hunter Deno as Amelia just really just did it for me, and just her storyline of superstition and luck was just something that at least really connected with me in regards to that. So I definitely effed with it for sure. Now Ultra does say, he says, I'm kind of disappointed that it seems like the Gold Ranger is debuting in episode 8. That seems way too early for a Sixth Ranger debut. I wish both Power Rangers and Super Sentai can have their Sixth Rangers debut later. I would agree with you there, not Ultra. I didn't mind it so much, like because I think we got Nate introduced in episode 8 as the Gold Ranger in the first season of Beast Morphers. And I didn't mind it then, but there is something, I think, of holding on to some of your cards, right? And not putting everything out immediately. Like the idea of knowing, like for me, I would honestly even have the Gold Ranger appear when we come back from the hiatus, or lead into a cliffhanger of, ooh, who's this mysterious new figure or something like that, right? Like I believe in the idea of giving us a huge cliffhanger, but don't give it all to us within that first half of the season. You know what I mean? I want something to look forward to when I kind of come back into it. And so if I know that I've still got a Sixth Ranger reveal that's going to be waiting for me in the second half of the first season, yeah, that's going to give me all the more incentive to kind of come back for the season. So yeah, I don't necessarily think we need to showcase it. I'm sure they'll give it to us, and I'll eat it up. I'll be great to see. I'll be happy to see the Gold Ranger for sure. But I do think that it would be okay to hold off on that type of reveal for a little bit later. So I agree with you there. All right. So Rob doesn't think that the Sixth Ranger is going to be in the 8th episode. I will be interested, right? We've been trying to figure out who they're talking about. If it's going to be the Sixth Ranger, is it going to be Mick that winds up popping up, right? So we'll see. We'll see. All right, guys. But I think with that, if anything, Common Rider does ask, do you think the future of Power Rangers is looking bright? So far, yeah. So far, yeah. At least Dino Fury makes me feel like it's going to be bright. What comes after, who knows? I'm eager for it, regardless of what we wind up getting. All right, guys. Other than that, I think that will. Oh, hold on. um, I'm gonna miss seeing your videos take place from your apartment. I will too. But you know what me and the girlfriend have planned for this office, I think is gonna be pretty brilliant if we can pull it off. Definitely some painting gonna be taking place. Some getting some new lighting, some new tech if I can. Again, guys, if you want to support the channel, especially as we're getting ready for trying to put together this office, It really goes a long way. If you want to join the Patreon, $1 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, several different tiers, guys. If you want to go ahead and help contribute to us putting together this office, because we do plan on trying to get some new stuff. And like I said, lighting technology, putting the TV out there. Also, it'll be. I'm hoping that this office that comes together will even outshine what we had in the apartment. So we'll see what happens. All right, guys. With that out of the way, oh, you know what, Mr. Trent, what's up, Trent? Appreciate you coming through. It's definitely gonna be Mick. I mean, he is an unexpected guest. You're absolutely right. He is an unexpected guest. So you're right. It may not be the Sixth Stranger in episode 8. It certainly could be Mick. We've seen pictures of Mick already from some of the still photos that we've had. Right. I think one of the things that I've mentioned last week was, I find it interesting that we have not seen Mick yet. The fact that we see him in the still photos, I've always been under the impression that those still photos are usually from the first section of the first season. So it would not surprise me, Trent. It would not surprise me, Trent, if it is going to be Mick that pops up in there for sure. So yeah. Trent also says Liana just had an interview with MorphingNet. Take your chance on getting an interview with her. Dunn did that, man. We had an interview with her like 2 years ago. After I think it's during the first season of Beast Morphers. It is in fact on our YouTube page. So if you missed out on our interview with Liana Ramirez, it is definitely up there. So definitely go ahead and check it out. I feel like I was probably actually one of the few people I think that might have gotten an opportunity to interview Liana before a lot of people. I think maybe was it hashtag or the Illuminati maybe. But yeah, it's been a while since we've interviewed Liana. I would love to have her back on, but I'm glad that they wind up getting her down for an interview for sure. She's a fan favorite, man. Absolutely love Liana Ramirez, and she's also an author as well, guys. She's doing some big things. But guys, listen, at the end of the day, when it comes to Dino Fury episode number 6, let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen, as we go ahead and start moving on with some of our topics for the remainder of the show. Not too busy of a day, but we definitely have some big announcements that we certainly have to look forward to. And one of those announcements is actually going to be coming and hitting us rather soon, guys. Hasbro Pulse loves to have their Fan Fridays or their fan fests from time to time, revealing brand new stuff, whether it be in regards to Power Rangers, Transformers, G.I. Joes, just a ton of their IP and property that they wind up having. Well, guys, we're going to be getting ourselves another Hasbro Pulse here this week. This week, it's actually going to be dropping this April 9th, beginning 11 a.m. Eastern time. But we recently just wind up getting an announcement here from Power Rangers on Twitter, letting us know, alert, this is not a prank, because I think this was revealed on April 1st. No biggie, but the cast of Power Rangers Dino Fury is going to join us at Hasbro Pulse Fan Fest. You don't want to miss out. So the entire crew from Dino Fury, or the cast from Dino Fury, will in fact be at Hasbro Pulse this week. Again, April 9th at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Now, I do work 9 to 6, so I may not be able to do like a live stream or things like that. So I haven't had the opportunity to ask for the day off. So if anything, any news that winds up dropping, especially because that's going to be Friday afternoon, we'll probably talk on next week's episode of A Plus More Phenomenal. Maybe hold off on some of those news and do a video of our own that Saturday, because I'm sure there's going to be a ton of people. You probably have Ranger Liz, you probably have Esty, you probably have Illuminati, you probably have a ton of Airlim. I mean, you probably have a ton of different people that are going to be live reacting to the fan fest stuff. So Power Rangers will be in full effect on Friday for a lot of people. So I may, if they do have any big announcements, I probably will just go ahead and talk about them on Saturday's show. And then maybe if you guys catch me on Twitter, I might just kind of give my thoughts briefly, or at least highlight some of the news and the announcements that we wind up getting. I would be fascinated to see if this is where they're going to reveal who the sixth ranger is, or if they're going to actually wait just a little bit longer to kind of do that. I personally would have them wait, but I don't really don't mind whatever they want to give me. I don't really have too much speculation as to what do I need to see, right? I don't necessarily need to see anything from these guys. I mean, if they just want to give me some news, I'm more than happy to do that. The fact that they are bringing in the entire cast, I do wonder if we're going to get just a mini interview with them to see just how how, filming has been going on and things like that. I don't know how far into season 2 they are, or if they're even close to wrapping, right? Maybe they'll make the announcement that they've wrapped season 2. Who knows? The fact that they are bringing on the entire crew, though, does make me think that they probably have another casting announcement to maybe usher in a new Ranger. So it would not surprise me if the Gold Ranger or even Mick was announced or brought in, like Kelson Anderson, if they had him come in to reveal, like, look who's coming back to the show type of thing. So I would like to see that. And I do think it's a little bit too early to make announcements in regards to what's coming after Dino Fury. I'm hoping that if anything, maybe we do get some updates in regards to Jonathan Entwistle's stuff, like how far along is the script, do we have a new synopsis or a brief outline? So I would be interested to see what Power Ranger information we're definitely going to be getting. But I do think that the possibilities are certainly out there. But, if you're bringing in the Dino Fury cast, I do think that that means that maybe this cast is going to be introducing somebody else that might be sort of joining the cast at some point in time. But I'll be tuning in regardless. Even though I'm at work, I'll probably have the TV on in the background, following along with everybody. Wouldn't surprise me if we get more Lightning Collection stuff revealed. Also, some new toys and action figures, some new Zords, or whatever the case may be. But I definitely will be paying attention for sure. So guys, mark your calendar, April 9th, 11 a.m. Central Time, which is 10 a.m. for me. Power Rangers will in fact be, Dino Fury cast will in fact be on Hasbro Pulse Fan Fest. So let me know your guys' level of excitement in the live chat or the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. What are you guys saying? Who else wound up popping up in here? What's up, Byron? Thank you very much, Byron, for certainly coming through as always. Trent says, going back to the Liana question, he says, oh, I know, I already watched it. I mean, a second time wouldn't be bad. She's a little bit difficult to get in contact with. I haven't reached out to her in several months, though, so maybe I'll try and reach out to her again. But yeah, I mean, the second episode certainly wouldn't be bad, but I definitely do have my mindset on some other people that I haven't had the opportunity to interview with also. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Liana Ramirez again for sure. Give her opportunity to promote some of the stuff that she certainly wants to do. You know what I mean? Frankie maybe it references the idea, maybe an announcement for Power Rangers being on Nickelodeon again for an additional year. Possibly. Maybe that's another announcement that we wind up having. The future of where Dino Fury is certainly going to air after 2021. Who certainly knows? I'm looking forward to seeing this cast, though. I think it'll be fun to see them all on screen together, and just getting to see their personalities and how they, I'm sure we've already kind of seen them do interviews together as cast members, as an entire group. So I definitely look forward to seeing what else they have in store for us. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and transition now over to some tokusatsu information for you guys, because Kamen Rider Week has officially begun. I believe it's April 3rd all the way to the 10th. We're going to be getting announcements all week long that just started as of yesterday. So Kamen Rider is in fact celebrating its 50th anniversary, guys. Can you imagine that? Kamen Rider 50th anniversary, Super Sentai and its 45th anniversary. Just some big moments for just Toei and tokusatsu in general. And, it's just crazy to me that despite all these seasons of Kamen Rider, I have not just sat my ass down and just watched any of these seasons. But I got to tell you, the announcements, the excitement that I'm seeing in the tokusatsu fandom, Kamen Rider fans just spraying my news feed on Twitter with a bunch of these titles and a bunch of this information man is about to turn me into a Kamen Rider fan, guys. I'm not even kidding. You know, Stuart is going strong with our Kamen Rider Saber reviews on our channel. If you guys aren't familiar with them, definitely go ahead and check them out if you have the opportunity to. So we are trying to get into more Kamen Rider for you guys here. And so maybe Kamen Rider Week, as we've been seeing so far, is going to be that great push as we've got a ton of fantastic announcements for you guys here today. So let's go ahead and actually just start talking about some of these, shall we? Let me go ahead and pull this up, because I believe this is from the actual Kamen Rider website. There were 3 announcements that were made this week, guys, all as of yesterday. So let's go ahead and focus on some of them, shall we? So this is from the Kamen Rider website. The first one that we're going to be getting, guys, is an animated series. That's right, guys. If you're a big fans of anime and Kamen Rider, oh, this is just your lucky day. So it says, commemorating the 50th anniversary of Kamen Rider debut, official sequel to the Hesse era. I'm completely killing that shit. Kamen Rider W, the popular manga series currently published in weekly Big Comic Spirits, morphs into its first ever Kamen Rider animation. So that's right, they're announcing a Fudo Pi animated series. It says from live action to manga and now animation. To commemorate the 50th anniversary of the legendary Kamen Rider franchise, production of an animated series based off the manga has been announced. It is the official sequel to the popular Kamen Rider W series or drama, I should certainly say. It says that it debuted in 2009. The series did. Kamen Rider W debuted in 2009. Was the 11th Kamen Rider series produced during the that particular era. A hard-boiled detective buddy drama. The series was acclaimed for its dramatic storylines and stylish action scenes, becoming one of the most popular series of the entire franchise. The manga, Fudo, serialized in the weekly Big Comic Spirits, continued the Kamen Rider W story in a format that appeals to adult readers. That's pretty cool. So they actually wind up an official sequel when it came into the manga form. So I think that's pretty neat. So it says, maintaining the elaborate settings and eclectic worldview of Kamen Rider W and Fudo, the new Fudo animated series will take viewers deep into the story with the compelling feeling of power and speed made possible by the magic of animation. And then you also have producer Hideki Sukada. He had a couple of things to say also. So it says, have you ever felt disconnected when your favorite work is remade in a different medium? I feel like that all the time. I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. The hero wouldn't say something like that. The tempo's off. We already know the story. There's no need to explain at great length. But there was none of that disconnect when the live action drama Kamen Rider W was followed by the manga Fudo. The manga is an official sequel telling the next chapters of the W story. It was stimulating because the story was new, but there was also refreshing new technical aspects. Even as I supervised the project, I was astonished at how well a script writer was able to design a manga that could be read with the same breathless excitement that was generated by watching the live action W drama. This can be attributed to Sanjo's stances of always imagine from a fan's perspective. That's why readers were able to relish the manga stories set in the windy city of Fudo without any disconnect. And now the story of Fudo morphs into yet another form as an animated series. It's a milestone that emphasizes by the lyrics of the Cyclone Effect soundtrack. Gaining strength and power, the wind takes us to the next stage. The group of talented animation creators working on this project are the wind. Always imagining from the fan's perspective will take you to the total satisfaction stage. So it says, keep an eye out for Fudo animated series coming your way in 2022. So, man, guys, this sounds exciting. I'm super pumped for this. While I've never watched Kamen Rider W, I almost feel like this is now going to be my first series that I wind up tackling. I've dabbled a little bit when it comes to, say, Kamen Rider Zero. Really enjoyed what I saw so far from Kamen Rider Zero. But you know what? Now that we've gotten this announcement from Kamen Rider W, I think I'm going to go back a ways and check out this season for myself, because I definitely would love to see Kamen Rider in an animation form. It does kind of blow my mind that it hasn't been done before, but with the steps that we've taken with animation these days, this is going to be breathtaking. I really do have no doubt that these guys are not going to slouch on this project. And I definitely do think we're going to get some top tier technology when it comes to this animation form. So I will check out Kamen Rider W. Heck, maybe it's something that we'll put on a channel. Maybe it's something we'll put on our Patreon. Who certainly knows? But we'll definitely go ahead and check out the series for sure. But I'm kind of curious if you guys have certainly checked out Kamen Rider W, and if not, definitely let me know your guys' thoughts in regards to it. But that's not even that, guys. That's not even the one aspect of the Kamen Rider W announcement. That's not the only part of the announcement, guys. Not at all. The second part of that announcement for Kamen Rider W, the Fudo animated series, is that it's going to be airing on Funimation. That's right, guys. Funimation is in fact going to be the home, if you will, for this brand new Fudo Pi series that we're going to be getting, which I think is brilliant, to certainly say the least. They actually did go ahead and also post a press release. Funimation certainly did. So if you guys were thinking to yourself, maybe this is only going to be released over in Japan, that we wouldn't be able to see it here in the States, nah, they're making this available for everybody, guys. Kamen Rider Anime Fudo Pi announced for the 50th anniversary, coming to Funimation in 2022. It says, in celebration of the 50th anniversary of the legendary Kamen Rider series, Toei has announced the production of Fudo Pi, a Kamen Rider anime series that we're excited to announce will stream on Funimation upon its release. It says the news was revealed during the special Kamen Rider event highlighting 50 years of the iconic franchise. Though the series has seen previous animation adaptations in the form of shorts or OVAs, Fudo will be the first full anime series based on the live action Kamen Rider program. And there's the logo and things like that as well. So yeah, guys, they're actually going to be having it available to us on Funimation. So if you don't have a Funimation account, definitely go ahead and get yourselves one. Because big things are definitely headed the way. So Kamen Rider W, the official sequel in Fudo Pi, getting an animation on Funimation, Funimation starting in 2022. So it'll be here before you know it, guys. It'll be here before you know it. So I'm really eager, man. I got to tell you, I'm really pumped for what we certainly are getting. And that was just the first announcement. That was just the first announcement, guys, because we're not slowing down at all. Let me go ahead and bring this up for you guys again so we can go ahead and talk about the second announcement for you Kamen Rider fans, because it gets better. It gets better. I'm not even kidding. Let's see here. So we talked about the Fudo Pi animated series. Next up, Project 2. That's right, guys. Kamen Rider Black Sun. It says master filmmaker Kazuya Shiraishi, I'm pretty sure I butchered that, to direct new interpretation of Masked Rider's Black Saga, reboot of the classic franchise Kamen Rider Black. I love this logo. This logo just looks badass as can be. I really do love just the design of this. But it says, to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the legendary Kamen Rider franchise, filmmaker Kazuya Shiraishi has been named to direct Kamen Rider Black Sun, a new series based on the monumental Kamen Rider Black. The new series is scheduled to launch in spring 2022. So we got a new series in Kamen Rider Black Sun hitting us in 2022, along with an animated series hitting us in 2022. Also, it says Kamen Rider Black Sun reboot aims to appeal to adult audiences. It says, let's see here. For half a century, from the original Showa era series through Kamen Rider Saber, the second series of the Reiwa era, successive incarnations of the Masked Rider superhero has entertained fans of all ages. Now in 2021, they mark their 50th anniversary. It says a remake of the highly popular Kamen Rider Black series has been announced. A new interpretation of the story steeped in the pathos of the hero's harsh fate. Kamen Rider Black returns to the screen after a hiatus of more than 30 years, reincarnating the Kamen Rider Black Sun. Commissioned for the logo, calligrapher Son Takeda has created a powerful image that embodies the heroic world of the new series. Let's see here. Oh, where'd the logo go? Oh, here's the comment from the director. He says, the thought of being in charge of this amazing reboot of Kamen Rider Black gives me the shivers. I'm going to need to rely on every bit of my skill to ensure I don't get crushed by 50 years of Kamen Rider history. I want the tragic story of Kotaro Minami, Takar, and, oh my goodness, guys, I'm sorry. I'm trying. Nobuhiko Ikuzuki to carve a new niche in the chronicles of Japanese heroes. I plan on giving it my best. I hope everyone will see it. So yeah, it's going to be released spring of 2022. So yeah, guys, another looks like they're recreating or a reboot, if you will, of this particular series aimed directly for adult viewers as well. So they're definitely not pulling the punches, guys. They're definitely trying to kick our ass here in regards to some of these announcements that they're getting for us. And again, this guys, this, you know, what's trippy to me is the fact that all this stuff was announced on one day. And we're supposed to be having a week of all these announcements and all this news that's supposed to be coming. Like, I think they're probably supposed to be doing maybe more like interviews and things like that, more reveals, more toy reveals. I think I just saw maybe one of the Kamen Rider belts, I think, on sale, or maybe like commemorating it for the 50th anniversary. So I do think that they are putting out some collectible stuff as well throughout this week during their announcements. But yeah, you know, I'm a big TV and movie guy, so the fact that I'm just eating up all these announcements for the Kamen Rider animated series, and it looks like we're having ourselves a live action series also in Black Sun. So stay tuned, guys. We'll definitely go ahead and keep you guys up to date in regards to any information that we wind up getting in regards to that as we go forward. There is one other announcement that they wind up making. Let me see if I can try and pull this up here. Okay. So I'm really excited to talk about this next topic because of the fact that I've gushed about it forever already. And I really do emphasize, guys, if you have not seen Shin Godzilla, do yourselves a favor and check out Shin Godzilla. I'm sure you can find it out there, whether it be in Japanese or English subtitles. It's probably out there somewhere. But check out Shin Godzilla whenever you can, because Kamen Rider seems to be taking the next step into that as well, guys. The last and final announcement that they wind up giving us today, Shin Godzilla, Shin Ultraman, or Shin Kamen Rider, I should say. Shin Kamen Rider is making his way here. It's going to be a live action movie, guys. Shin Kamen Rider is on its way here. This one, let me see if I can pull this up for you guys also. I wanted to go ahead and share the logo with you guys. This is the logo that they had ready for its announcements to let us know that we're going to be getting a Shin Kamen Rider here. But to go into further detail as to what exactly this movie is going to be, let me go ahead and pull this up. This is from tokunation.com. It says Kamen Rider has announced another major project for its 50th anniversary. Legendary filmmaker Hideaki Anno, fresh off Shin Godzilla and Shin Ultraman, will bring his talents to the Kamen Rider world for a new project titled Shin Kamen Rider. Presumably, this release will have no connection to the 1992 film of the same name. Shin Kamen Rider will be released in 2023, which makes me think that's 2 years away. So production is probably already have to be starting on this movie already behind the scenes. It is interesting to me that Shin Kamen Rider gets announced as of right now, when we literally just got an announcement that Shin Ultraman has been indefinitely delayed. I think Shin Ultraman was supposed to be released this spring or this summer, but the release date has been changed. It doesn't have a brand new release date as of right now, so I am wondering what's going on with that particular project. But Hideko Anno, who did Shin Godzilla, who was also one of the powerful forces in bringing popular anime like Neo Genesis Evangelion to life, right? He was the showrunner and creator of that show also. Really hugely popular guy who just has just done some amazing work in his career. Has really tackled this Shin world, if you will. And Shin is really like, from what I've been able to tell just from watching Shin Godzilla alone, it definitely still embraces the tokusatsu aspect of all these properties, but putting them sort of in a modern day origin story, if you will, right? Shin Godzilla for me was startling in the sense of seeing how an attack in the 2000s would take place if Godzilla literally came out of the ocean one day and just, trampled over the world, if you will, or over the country, right? The political bullshit and the aspects of like all the red tape that you got to jump through just to kind of get a response to all the craziness that's kind of happening, right? You got all these layers of government. You got to talk to this person. You got to talk to this person next, and then this person, right? And then just seeing Shin Godzilla just run amok. Just great, beautiful storytelling, great characters, a ton of tension, great action also, and amazing special effects. Shin Godzilla really blew me out of the water. And if they're going to take that same attention to detail, and they're going to tell the story of, say, an Ultraman in Shin Ultraman, maybe the first appearance of Ultraman in that same format. And then you're going to tell me you're also going to take that and give me that same sort of focus and attention to detail for a Shin Kamen Rider. Yes, please. Yes, please. I'm definitely going to go ahead and take it. I had no idea that there was a previous film, Kamen Rider Shin, I believe is what it was called back in 1992. I'm assuming it probably takes those same elements, right? Despite the fact that Kamen Rider was back in the 1970s, if you will, they probably did the same thing in regards to a more modern take back in 1992, at least, a more modern take of a Kamen Rider, if you will, first appearance. How does that character work in today's world, if you will? And so the fact that you're getting somebody who's as qualified as Hideko Anno to come back and use his same experience for a Kamen Rider live action movie, man, this is almost like too good to be true for me. I'm really eager to see this. One of the things I will say about the Shin Ultraman trailer, I did have some issues with at least the special effects and the graphics for the Ultraman character itself. As brief as it was just one trailer, so I do wonder if they're spending more time. Maybe that's why they delayed it, to really bump the technology up just a little bit. Who knows? But I am looking forward to Shin Ultraman. I don't know how great it is, but if they're going to be bringing on Hideko Anno for Shin Kamen Rider, they must have really loved what they saw, not only in Shin Godzilla, but also Shin Ultraman, to go ahead and even bring him back on for one of their trusted properties in Kamen Rider, right? You only want to give people you only want to give those properties to somebody that you know is going to pay attention and give proper care to. So I am super pumped for this, guys. I really am, and it makes me wonder, considering the fact that Toei has gone above and beyond to bring us these Shin versions of all their popular tokusatsu worlds or properties, if you will. I wonder if we can get can we get a Shin Go Ranger? I would love to see a more modern take with a great attention to detail and a more mature sort of view of what a Super Sentai team might look like in today's world. So yeah, I really hope that we get a Shin Go Ranger at some point in time, based off of the fact that again, guys, you know, I know we like to boast a little bit about I know we like to, oh, let me see if I can pull this up here real quick. Give me 1 second here. I know we like to boast about the idea that we have um a um a, a a Patreon page, but we are currently on our Patreon page doing reactions for the very first season of Super Sentai in Go Rangers as of right now. I honestly, when I tackled this this series, I didn't know there was like 80 something episodes. we're in the 20s currently, and I'm damn determined to get through all these episodes. But the fact that we are currently doing exclusive reaction videos for Go Ranger on our site just makes me really even want to get a Shin Go Ranger at some particular point in time. I really would like to see this. And again, if Toei has this confidence in Hideko Anno to go ahead and bring something like a Shin Godzilla to life, Shin Ultraman to life, and now give him a Kamen Rider property to reestablish for a more modern time, I'm here for it, guys. I'm here for it. So Shin Kamen Rider has in fact been announced for 2023, the third announcement from the Kamen Rider 50th anniversary that we've seen so far, and plenty more to certainly come, guys. But again, if you guys have not had the opportunity to check out Shin Godzilla for yourself, please go ahead and do yourselves a favor. I don't think you guys will be disappointed at all. You might be thanking me for putting you onto it, to say the least. And I do have a Godzilla movie to certainly still watch this week. I have not watched Godzilla versus Kong yet. Probably will go ahead and watch that tonight, just so I can talk about it a little bit more tomorrow on A Plus Hero Reports, as we'll probably give our little thoughts or our immediate thoughts on Godzilla versus Kong, to say the least. But yeah, guys, I'm a big fan. I've loved all the announcements that we've gotten so far. And if their idea of celebrating the 50th anniversary was a way of getting more fans into Kamen Rider, Toei, you've done a successful job, man, because I'm definitely going to be tackling some of these series when they wind up dropping, and even revisiting some of them also. So listen, guys, I want to know your thoughts. What are some of the announcements from this 50th anniversary that has jumped out to you so far that you want to further go ahead and talk about? Let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below. And are you finally going to check out Shin Godzilla? I feel like I talk about it every week on here, just because it just really left a great lasting impression on me personally. But I would love to know your guys' thoughts in regards to all these announcements that we wind up getting. Here's another great poster for you guys from Funimation, showcasing off the manga itself for Kamen Rider W, the Fudo, if you will. So you got a poster for that, and then of course the Shin Kamen Rider poster as well, guys. So yeah, big things certainly coming our way. All right, we got one more topic that we're going to be breaking down and talking with you guys about briefly, and this one comes to us from jefusion.com, a great entertainment, Japanese entertainment blog. We're actually affiliated with JE Fusion. We post a lot of our A Plus More Phenomenal videos over there, especially on their Facebook page as well. So yeah, you can definitely find us over on JE Fusion also. But this one comes to us from some Zenkaiger scans that wind up dropping. You know, I was a little bit hesitant to talk about this one, just because, again, this is other news that wind up dropping on April 1st. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, I hope all this shit just isn't a terrible, terrible April Fool's joke, but I really don't think that it is, just because of the fact that they actually have magazine scans that they're actually showcasing to us in here. So it definitely makes me think this is probably as real as it certainly gets. But it says for Zenkaiger, the new team versus legend Sentai heroes and mechas. Like what is going on with this series as of right now? So let's go ahead and pull this up for you guys, or at least I'll go ahead and showcase to you guys some of the articles that we wind up having, or photos that we wind up having here. So let's look at some of these real quick. So according to the website, it says it looks like the new team will get their hands busy this month of April, as instead of the Toji Tendo dynasty, they will be going against the past legend Super Sentai heroes. It says this month, the Go Rangers, Magi Rangers, and Buken Rangers appear and start to attack the Zenkaigers. Could this be the effect of the purple Sentai gears? That's not all. The mechas of the past Sentai heroes will also give them a hard time, as we get the opportunity to see that in here perfectly, as we got a bunch of the mechs certainly returning also for us to certainly look at. So I mean, you get to see the Kikainoids on one side, you get to see the Megazords on the other one, on the other side as well. It looks like they're about to have just a gigantic brawl, to say the least. Talk about another legendary war, or another great superhero battle on our hands. They definitely don't seem to be pulling any punches at all. And it also does mention here, it says, and lastly, the Zenkaigers will use the following Sentai gears and unlock their powers, that are the Go Rangers. You've got the Kaku Ranger, you've got Gao Ranger, and then of course you've got the Go Busters, Q Ranger, and Real Soldier. Let's see if we can see some of the moments here. Here's a Zenkaiger facing off against Aqua Ranger himself. I'm trying to look around and see if there's any other little angles in here. I would love to see. Oh, I'm glad that they have that whip for Aqua Ranger. You guys know I feel like the whip and the boomerang from Go Rangers are just underrated weapons that we certainly need more of. But here's the power up page here. You get to see the Real Soul Ken. Is that what it's called? The sword itself from Real Soldier being held by Zenkaiger, which is crazy. It's like a little bit of a meta moment, since we literally just talked about Dino Fury here. To see Kaido here as Zenkaiger holding on to the Dino Fury saber is pretty crazy to me. But yeah, so they're definitely going to be using that as the Real Soldier power. It says for the Go Ranger, it's going to produce their final attack, the Go Ranger Hurricane, which I'm assuming is where they kick the ball, the Go Ranger Storm, if you will. So they definitely will be using that ability for the Kikainoids. You've got the Kaku Rangers, who's going to be using some of their ninja style techniques also. And then for the Go Ranger, or I should say Gao Ranger, it says refined instinct and wild attacks. For the Go Busters, they're going to be dabbling in super speed and strength, which makes sense, because you had Hiromu, who had the super speed. You had Yuji, who had the super strength. Q Ranger is going to be using luck, which I find rather fascinating. I wonder how they'll handle the luck aspect of things, just visually showcasing that, and Real Soldier, the ability to summon the Real Soul Ken as well. So some big things headed our way when it comes to Zenkaiger, and of course the big mecha and legendary Super Sentai battle that we seemingly are going to be getting coming here in the month of April. I will say this, man. I really am fascinated to see, like, how are they going to pull all the stuff off in this series? Because to me, I'm trying to figure out, like, how does this all fit into sort of the overarching storyline of this season, if there is one? We've spent the first 4 episodes so far slowly being introduced to the entire team. Again, if you guys did miss our Zenkaiger review, our Zenkaiger review is currently on our YouTube page. You can go ahead and check it out for the previous episode with Vroom. A really enjoyable episode. Absolutely loved it. Vroom has definitely grown on me for a character that I wasn't expecting much from. He definitely left a lasting impression on me, so I had a ton to certainly say but just feels like a weird sort of change of pace from where we just sort of came from, right? I mean, we get the reveal of Kaido's parents maybe being involved with Ijirood and the Toji Tendo dynasty a little bit, the creation of the gears, if you will. Still a little bit of a mystery in regards to their involvement, right? But there clearly is a connection. It makes me wonder how a storyline and topics like legendary Super Sentai and the battles against the mechas, like how all that stuff kind of comes into play, feels a little bit early to me. Like maybe that's something that you would want to hold off for later in the series. But maybe they have bigger plans that actually do focus on the Toji Tendo a little bit later on in the series. But we'll see. We'll see what the execution of this is all going to certainly turn out to look like. But yeah, I'm definitely eager to see what Zenkaiger certainly has up its sleeve at the end of the day. But guys, listen, I want to know your thoughts in regards to some of these scans that you certainly see. What does it do for your excitement level of the series so far? Definitely go ahead and let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, guys, I think that will probably wrap it up for us in regards to some of our topics and storylines for the day. Let me see if I can go ahead and jump into some comments with you guys before we actually get into your guys' live viewer questions. I just want to go ahead and tackle some of these real quick. I'm handsome, dude, going back to just to see what some of you guys are saying in regards to some of the topics that we just talked about. I'm handsome, dude, says, what if during Hasbro Pulse they announced their contract renewal for Nickelodeon for another 4 years? Oh, heaven mighty. Please no. Please no. Listen, I don't think I will say this, even despite what Jonathan Entwistle is certainly doing, it would not surprise me if some aspect of Power Rangers does remain on Nickelodeon, right? I just don't know as to whether or not it will be the kid-friendly stuff that still remains there or the animation stuff might go there. Who certainly knows? But the one thing that I have learned about Hasbro from just some of the announcements that they've certainly made in their first quarter investors call was the idea that they believe in spreading the wealth, if you will, spreading the risk, not putting all of their IP on one particular place, right? They're kind of creating content to allow other people that might want to, to license that stuff out to where other streaming services, if you want a live action Power Ranger show, here you go. Nickelodeon, you want an animated one? Here you go. Oh, you guys want to host the adult Power Ranger stuff? Okay, Paramount Plus, you guys can go ahead and host that, right? You don't want to put all your Power Ranger content or even all your Transformer stuff on one particular channel or one particular streaming service. You want to spread that risk, if you will. So wouldn't surprise me if something from Power Rangers stays on Nickelodeon. Just don't know what that's certainly going to be, though. So we'll definitely have to see. Trent, he says, I think the Jonathan Entwistle stuff will get revealed later this year, casting, etc. Yeah, that feels very much like a summer kind of announcement. You know what I mean? Something that they might want to hold off on in regards to the summertime. So I'm not expecting casting or anything like that, but it would be cool if for the Hasbro Pulse thing, they had Jonathan Entwistle come in just to kind of give a brief little breakdown of what we can kind of expect without giving too much away. You know what I mean? It would be cool just to at least hear from Jonathan in regards to seeing what some of his inspirations for creating Power Rangers certainly might be. So we'll see, Trent. We'll definitely see what wind up getting revealed. So Rob says, does Power Rangers stream on Paramount Plus? No, it does not. It does not. Sam says, happy anniversary, 50th Kamen Rider, best show ever. Yeah, it still just blows my mind, man, that it's been around for 50 years. And I've not watched a damn season of it fully. I need to get onto that, though. I definitely need to get onto that. Only I watched is Saban's Mask Rider and Dragon Knight. Well, you know what, Sam? Maybe me and you both need to go and do some Kamen Rider exploration, man, and kind of fall down that uh, rabbit hole of the past 50 years. That's kind of what I'm trying to do with Super Sentai now. That's one of the reasons why I decided to go ahead and do reviews for Go Ranger, just for myself personally. I really would love to fall in line with the Super Sentai season, see where it came from and how it got there. You know what I mean? I'm just fascinated by just the mindset that goes into a lot of those past seasons of Super Sentai. Like, what were they trying to accomplish? What messages were they trying to get across? Because you can clearly see the differences of the past to now, right? So the mindset of what the show certainly has changed over time. And so I find that kind of stuff really, really fascinating. You also say, yeah, Kamen Rider adaptation animated will be all right, but it should be live action, to be honest. They should be in the US. And listen, I mean, I get the idea of the love of Kamen Rider and Tokusatsu in live action, but let's not dismiss the possibilities of what it could be also in other types of mediums, because I do think there is a ton of other exploration that one can certainly do in animation that you just can't do in live action form, and I do think animation could really help shows like a Kamen Rider and Power Rangers really kind of go a long way. So I know while there are some lovers of live action and people just want to see their stuff in live action, the only thing that I would say is while I understand the hesitancy, let's not sleep on animation, because I do think that we could get some incredible stuff, Jose, what's up, Jose? He says it's pronounced Heisei. Okay, thank you. Heisei era. Thank you very much, Jose. Because you guys know, listen, I don't purposefully try and butcher these names. I really do try and pronounce them. So thank you very much for the correction. Heisei. All right. I kind of dig that. I should just start putting up a disclaimer in the beginning of my episodes. No disrespect, but I will butcher your names. So we'll see. Sarav says the font style for the word black is great. Looks like it. Yeah, the idea that they even brought in somebody that is well known for their calligraphy to go ahead and do the logo, perfection, man. And not only that, but against sort of the was that a solar eclipse, if you will, right? The idea, or is that a right solar eclipse? The idea of the sun, but you like the ray behind it, sort of thing. Absolutely love it. Byron's over here with like a list of suggestions for people to interview. I slowly but surely, man, slowly but surely. Sometimes it's a little nerve wracking to have to reach out to them, but you know what? Sometimes you just got to take a swing at things. You know what I mean? So don't worry, Byron. I definitely am. I definitely have my eyes towards some people. So hopefully, maybe one day I definitely will hit some of your suggestions. But thank you for the suggestions. Enrique, is all of the Zenkaiger team going to battle past Super Sentai heroes and mechas in the upcoming episodes, along with the magazine? Yeah, I'm just based off of what the JE Fusion certainly tells me. Just some of those magazine scans. It looks like it's going to be a pretty epic battle. I'm kind of curious as to why they're battling, where they come from. It does suggest maybe the idea of the purple Sentai gears playing a part in it, but I don't really know. Um, I don't really know what those purple Sentai gears do as of yet. So I'll be discovering it at the same time as you are. Goda says, I got recommended Shin Godzilla as a horror movie recently. Yeah, there are there are some horror elements to this. I mean, it does take a very real world look at a gigantic monster coming into this world for the very first time, seeing anything unlike it. There's a lot of tension. There's a lot of fear involved. I wouldn't say. I mean, horror. It's dark. It's dark for sure. I would recommend it. I don't know if I would say it's all horror, but um, it definitely made me feel some type of way. Like I definitely felt the tension all movie long. You know, there are moments where there is a lot of talking, a lot of delegating, right? A lot of politics, people of power, higher power trying to figure out what the hell to do, type of thing, right? A ton of people giving suggestions, but it just all adds to just the chaoticness of trying to get your shit together to even fend off a huge ass monster like that, right? So there is a very much of a real world, intelligent point of view of tackling um a monster like that. And I thought Hideko Anno did a brilliant job of showcasing it and showcasing the threat of Godzilla unlike anything, man. Unlike anything. I mean, there are some just jaw-dropping moments like holy, you know what I'm saying? Like it's intense. I would recommend it. Dino Fury says, what's up, Dino Fury? He says, hey, Adam, if the episode before the mid-season hiatus is very good, then I wouldn't mind waiting for 6 months. We just need a great cliffhanger. Yeah, we definitely do need a good cliffhanger. And even if it's not a cliffhanger so much, I would be open to just a really good episode. If you can hit me with a really, really good one to end off sort of your first half of this season, yeah, I think you're in good hands. And I think a lot of people will certainly stick around for sure. Noah says Dino Power Rangers Dino Furies is amazing. Yeah, it's been a really stellar season so far. I've definitely enjoyed it so far. I mean, if I had to compare Power Rangers Dino Fury's first 6 episodes to say Zenkaiger's first 4 or 5 episodes, I'm definitely enjoying Dino Fury a little bit more. Not that I'm not enjoying Zenkaiger. It's just for me, I definitely have my preferences for sure. EETV. What's up, EE? Appreciate you coming through. I'm glad to hear the new series is doing good. Yeah, I think it's really beating out some people's expectations that they might have had kind of going into the season. Enigma, what's up, Enigma? Appreciate you coming through. Says I have to watch Kamen Rider now. Yeah, you and me both, man. You and me both. Again, they're doing a great job with their announcements in regards to getting some new fans that maybe not are not familiar with the franchise and what they're doing. They're doing a really great job of creating some new fans and getting people excited for what's to come. Adrian says Zenkaiger having a lot of people, a lot of past Rangers to fight. Will they be able to suit, or some actors are on screen? Isn't Japan still dealing with COVID? Yeah, most places are certainly still dealing with COVID. I don't know how serious it is over in Japan right now, but the fact that if they do have past Rangers that do wind up coming back, them being in Ranger form with the masks and things like that, I think that's probably a good. A good sign. You know, the fact that they have the masks on, I think that's one less thing that they have to worry about in regards to just COVID in general. One extra layer protecting them between everybody, right? So you could probably put on the entire screen 20 people if you wanted to, you know what I mean, without necessarily having to worry about things like that so much. Blossom says, you're probably going to love Saber, Adam. You know, when I first started, I did start watching the first couple of episodes of Saber. It didn't really grab my attention as much as I was really hoping that it would. It definitely felt like a slow and a rocky start. But I've been hearing some great things about as the season has progressed, how it is actually getting a lot better for some people. So maybe that is a series that I'll dabble in also. You know, Kamen Rider mentions he actually has the Kamen Rider Gaim on DVD. That's a series that I've certainly tried to watch. I personally couldn't get into it, which I think is surprising to many because I feel like that's a series that a lot of people really enjoyed. I just the whole Fruit Ninja thing just didn't work for me, unfortunately. I just wasn't the biggest fan of it. But maybe I'll give another crack at it. I only gave it like 3 or 4 episodes, to be honest with you. Dino Fury says, what was your reaction when Power Rangers in the Nickelodeon era started doing hiatuses? I just never understood them for at least the huge length of time that they certainly go on. You know what I mean? Like for me, it's different. Like when I watch regular television, my shows begin in the fall time, like September, October or so. And then we usually have a small little winter break, which isn't too bad. And then it goes for the remainder of, springtime, and then it wraps up. And then we usually do get ourselves a pretty significant hiatus for most shows that usually go through the springtime or the summertime. You know what I mean? But I think for me, it's the idea of how Power Rangers starts in the springtime and then immediately takes a hiatus only 2 months into it, right? And then we get a huge hiatus in between. Whereas, at least when it comes to my television shows from fall to springtime, it at least wraps up all the story. Right. I mean, some season finales might have a bit of a cliffhanger that will get you ready to kind of go into the next season, but the story has already been told, minus very few hiatuses, if you will. So it hits you a little bit differently. Whereas with this, the fact that it comes February, leaves in April, doesn't come back until God knows when, right? Like, that's just such a long time to just leave you hanging in the middle of your very first season, to get people. That's why you really got to come out of the gate swinging to make those first couple of episodes that much more impressive, to want to get those people to come back to finish off the storyline. It's just a really weird placement of a super long hiatus like that. So I've never been a big fan of it. I personally have never been a big fan of it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, guys. With that, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the live viewer questions, guys, for you guys. And again, if you guys are over in our live chat, if you haven't hit the like button, do me a big favor, especially if you come here on a weekly basis and you enjoy our discussions and our conversations. Hit that like button, guys. It certainly goes a long way. That big thumbs up. We're trying to get past 50 today, guys. 50 likes or more. So go ahead and certainly help the channel out in any way that you certainly can. And real quick, also, before we get into it, if you guys do want to support the channel in other ways monetarily, we do have ourselves a Patreon account. Again, patreon.com/A+opinions, guys. You can go ahead and check it out if you'd like to. We offer 3 different tiers: $1 a month support, $5 a month, $10 a month. They all offer different exclusive and early access content, not only just to our Power Rangers site and A+ More Phenomenal, but also A+ Hero Report as well for your Marvel and DC and movie fans also. So if you want to go ahead and support the channel, please go ahead and do so that way. Again, patreon.com/A+opinions. At least check it out, see what you think of it. And then if you want to go ahead and support the channel, we would appreciate it. But all right, guys, with that out of the way, we're about to get into your live viewer questions. Let me go ahead and pull this up. We got a few today too. I'm trying to think if I should work backwards or not. I'm handsome, dude. Rank your favorite Rangers from each of the Neo Saban era seasons leading to Beast Morphers. Favorite Rangers. God, do I have a favorite Ranger in Samurai? Oh God. God, that's a hard one. I'm trying to think, like, do I even have a favorite Ranger in Power Ranger Samurai? I will say from Megaforce, definitely Jake is my favorite. Ninja Steel. Ninja Steel, I've got Sarah and Preston from Ninja Steel. Damn, from Samurai. That's a tough one. I really was not a fan. I mean, maybe Antonio. Maybe Antonio. Maybe Antonio. I'll even say the Mentor also. Probably. Oh no, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm thinking Rangers. Can I just because you said favorite, oh, you did say favorite Rangers. Damn, because I almost was about to say Decker. Like, Decker for me was probably my favorite character out of Samurai. But if I had to pick Ranger, yeah, probably Antonio. From there. Beast Morphers. Oh, Dino Charge. Definitely Shelby and Tyler. Beast Morphers. Ooh, Beast Morphers is tough. Beast Morphers is tough. I want to say Roxy, but if I have to go with Ranger, probably Ravi. Probably Ravi. I think he had such incredible character work that I was not expecting. While I love Jacqueline Sislowski, don't get me wrong, and I love Zoe's moments, I was really actually a really big fan of Ravi and how he was utilized. Am I missing any other Neil Saban stuff? I don't believe I am. Let's see. What did you think of the new episode of Zenkaiger? And if Power Rangers were to continue adapting Super Sentai footage and they adapted Zenkaiger, do you think the costumes for Zenkaiger Morph forms will be entirely replaced, considering they all look goofy as mini Megazords? Yeah, look, people ask me this question all the time. Adam, do you think Power Rangers could adapt Zenkaiger? I say it all the time. Yes, I do. But there's also a huge asterisk next to that, okay? If they wanted to, it would just cost a lot of money because they would have to redesign some of the costumes and use a lot of original footage also. And I just don't know if Hasbro is willing to do that. But I'm never going to say never. So I do think that it could happen. Whether or not it will happen, or if Hasbro wants to spend the money to do it, is certainly up to them. But yeah, this past episode of Zenkaiger, I was a really big fan of it. I love the curiosity of Room. The fact that a lot of his actions and his decision making is based off of the idea of wanting to learn and become more knowledgeable about things. So I love just seeing that enthusiasm that he wind up having. It was definitely infectious. Even the Kaido, he appreciated the fact of having a Kikai Noid that loved the world as much as he certainly did. And I love Room being able to kind of stand up for himself and realizing that somebody was making him feel less of a person than he was, right? Like E.G. Rude referring to him as just a cleaner, just this bot that cleans up after our messes type of thing and should just be easily scrapped, right? I love the fact that Room stands up for himself a little bit more. Yeah, it was a much better improvement than the previous episode with the ice world and things like that. Some really great mystery revealed to us. I thought the boxing world was pretty fantastic. The mecha combinations I think was brilliant also. So some really great stuff for this past episode of Zenkaiger. Some of your memorable Power or Super Sentai series debuts. I wonder if you're talking about like just the episode debuts. I remember Beast Morphers definitely impressed me with the first episode debut. Same here with Dino Fury also. I don't know if any of the other Neo Saban era stuff really impressed me with its sort of debut. I want to say Ninja Storm definitely impressed me the first time that I watched it. Same thing with RPM. Some really great debut episodes, honestly. In Space, I thought was really great. Also, just bringing us into a whole new world, all the villains, seeing our new Red right off the bat. Some really great premieres or debuts, if you will. Trying to think for Super Sentai, some of the ones that I've seen so far that were great. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Power Rangers resonates with me more in that sense. I'm trying to think Super Sentai stuff. I'll think about it a little bit more here. Adrian Perez has a couple questions. What do you think of the series Q Ranger, and do you think it was adapted for Power Rangers? It would be too difficult because of having 12 to 14 Rangers in a team. So I haven't fully watched Q Ranger, so I'm not too familiar with it. Do I think it'll be difficult? No, I don't think it'll be. Well, do I think it'll be difficult? Yes. I think adapting anything is always a bit of a challenge. The idea of being able to do original content is always easier because you're creating it for yourself instead of trying to figure out how do you incorporate Sentai storylines and footage into your own, if you will, and having to work around all that stuff. I do wonder if the idea of tackling so many characters was to the downfall of Dino Charge Season 2. As you start adding more people, it becomes more and more difficult to keep a focus and really spend time on some of these characters to fully establish them, if you know what I mean. So I think if you're going to do something like a Q Ranger, you really need somebody that knows how to work with an ensemble cast, a big ensemble, that knows how to balance and give attention to a lot of the characters. So it's going to be, you'd have to be really creative with your storytelling. So while I would like to see a Q Ranger eventually adapted, if that were to ever happen, I do think it would be a little bit of an uphill battle. And I would definitely recommend bringing in some new writers. Not that I don't think Becca and Alwyn could certainly do it, but I do think that you to bring in some other eyes and creative minds to that series specifically that knows how to balance out so many characters, because it can just become very surface level in regards to its content, right? And no real added or important depths. You say, you even say, you say, I watched Supercharge, Dino Supercharge when it came out, and it was a big mess. Especially when the show followed the Sentai footage by making extra Rangers useless, and then that's what I'm talking about. You would need somebody that would know how to handle a big cast like that, because it is difficult. Now that it's been 2 years since Beast Morphers, what did you think of this series as a whole? And when Austin St. John was first rumored and appearing, what were your expectations and what we actually got in the Grid Connection crossover? So as a whole, Beast Morphers I thought was a huge success. To come out of the gates like that with a cast that to this day I wish certainly stuck around. I've mentioned this before, but it's been a while since we've had a cast to just fall in love with and have around for 3 or 4 or 5 seasons. You know what I mean? And since they don't do that any longer, I always felt that if they were to do that again and to keep, bring a Beast Morphers back in for a season 3 or whatever the case may be, I wanted that cast to certainly stick around. I would have loved to have seen them grow, not only just as performers and actors, but just as their characters also. So I was really, really impressed. Ben and Betty stuff was always hit or miss for me. A lot more physical comedy that really kind of took me out of it. I thought season 1 was relatively really solid and enjoyable. Some really great character making moments for Ravi. Roxy just being the star of that season. Also, I feel like season 2, the first half had its hiccups, but they really went out strong, honestly. So hugely successful season for me, one that I definitely thoroughly enjoyed and would love to go back and revisit for sure. So yeah, definitely a solid season, one that I definitely would recommend for some people. As far as the Austin St. John stuff, I try not to have too much expectations going into it, just because I don't want to be disappointed. I try and be as open-minded as I possibly can. And for me, the Grid Connection episode did a fantastic job. Could it have done more? I do think so. Could it have been longer? Yeah. But for what we wind up getting, I thought Austin did a great job of great speech as a leader towards the end to kind of give hope towards the future for Power Rangers, right? Believing in the people that had the Power Ranger abilities now. Just his entrance, for me, he just captured the screen when he was on there. You felt his importance and what it meant to have Jason back and returning, and it definitely felt that way in the episode. Definitely could have been executed a little bit more for sure, but I think for me, it definitely lived up to what I was hoping to get. Yeah, I was really pleased with it. Let's see here. What Super Sentai series that you have already watched would you? What Super Sentai series that you have already watched that you would both wish to be adapted into Power Rangers or do not want to get touched? Tokuger, I don't want to see touched. And adapted, probably Zoo Ranger. I would like to see Zoo Ranger adapted by Power Rangers also. AJ's got a couple questions. How do you feel if by the end of season 1 or end of season 2, Void Knight either stays as a villain for good or becomes good? Would it be a copy of Mystic Force when Korag became good and changed from purple to red? I'm sure some people would make connections to it, and who knows, maybe they're making connections to it. Like maybe that's their purpose of making connections to past seasons. So it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. You know me, I'm a sucker for a great redemption story, but I want the redemption to be earned. I want it to be earned. I felt like a Real Soldier was an interesting one. Definitely a great redemption story there in regards to Guy Sorg. And so if that's the route that they go, it would not surprise me. But I hope that's something that they hold off on until very later on in the season, if you know what I mean. So we'll see what happens. But no, I would like him to stay a villain for as long as he possibly can, just to really give him that importance. You know what I mean? Kind of like I think of like Garza a little bit from Kara Major. The idea of him just being such a great villain all season long and a great redemption arc for him towards the end. They don't have to wait that long for a Void Knight. If they want to wait till like a season 2, maybe just as season 2 goes into a hiatus, I would be open to that idea also. But I've liked what I've seen so far of him as a villain. What do you think of Warden Garcia ended up as the Dino Fury Brown or Bronze Ranger for an episode instead of Mick? He does seem to wear brown a lot in his costume. Perhaps someone is desperate need of rescue, and the Morphin Grid grants Warden Garcia armor for an episode. If so, would you like that? And if Simon Bennett made original footage for Real Soul Brown, considering in Real Soldier, Seto only became a ranger for 20 seconds as a stupid joke. I would be open to that. My first mindset is Mick as Real Soul Brown or Dino Fury Brown. But I kind of like the idea of Warden Garcia now that you mention it. The fact that I never really even considered that until you mentioned it. The fact that we have seen Garcia step up to a monster before already. You put that down. That's property of Pine Ridge. Like the fact that he had the balls to go ahead and face off against a Sporks beast and then take that hit into battle, like, hell yeah, he definitely warrants the idea of being a Power Ranger, man, if he got the balls to do that. So I would be open. To that idea. I'm glad you brought that up, AJ. Let's see here. Now that we're on episode 6 of Dino Fury, what do you think of the show so far? And are you worried that the show might drop in quality going forward into season 2 later on? Or will it stay as it is? Dino Charge also really dropped the ball in season 2 by tons of fillers and Sentai footage of pointless villains. Do I worry that the show might drop in quality? No, I'm not worried about that. Because I feel like, if anything, the show's been consistent so far, right? Great to good, enjoyable episodes. I haven't watched one so far that I've been like, this is just bad. This is atrocious. You know what I mean? And pulling me out of an episode. I've never felt that way too much. So I do think, if anything, this show will probably stick to that same formula, giving us really great momentum building episodes for really big storyline moments, and then episodes that are just going to feel like maybe your traditional week to week sort of episodes, still at least providing some good quality storytelling if it's not trying to blow us away. You know what I mean? So I do think that there will at least be a baseline of solid quality all throughout Dino Fury, with those peaks and valleys, if you will, of not even valleys, but those peaks of really great episodes that I think we'll wind up getting. So that's kind of the mentality that I'm into. I mean, could it change? Absolutely, it certainly could. But I definitely feel as though they're taking chances and they're doing new things this season, and it's to me, it's showing. So I'm expecting to be very even with spikes, so yeah, I'm definitely looking towards that, but I've enjoyed it so far. I've really enjoyed it. The characters, I think, have been really great. They've established themselves really well in regards to their personalities, their traits, what they love, what they don't, what worries them, what doesn't worry them. Zato, I would like to see more development with Zato. The fish out of water stuff is great. Learning a little bit more about Ravcon and his past, I think, would be brilliant also. So the addition of the two the two siblings, I think it was a great touch also to add some additional flair. We've got a character now in Izzy who's got some, sass to her and has a significant personality, right? I know I heard some people complaining or were mad at Izzy for like talking to Lily last week, like being pissed off at her and being mean and things like that. But, I think it's just natural characteristics for some people in the world. Sometimes we don't handle things well and we blow up on people. I don't think it's to make somebody look bad, but I just think it's a reality based. I just think that some people have off days and have bad days. And so I like the fact that we have a character in Izzy who isn't perfect, isn't always going to make somebody happy, may not smile all the time, right? Like she is her own individual. I love the fact that all these characters feel like their own person. And so I've been really, really impressed. The fight choreography that we've been getting from the second unit has been incredible. They've been doing some amazing work. Burt Selling with an amazing fight core, not fight core, musical composition has been brilliant. Also, I mean, probably my favorite morph sequence of all time in Power Rangers. I mean, it's been pretty impressive, I feel like, for the first season, for sure. Let's see here. Johnny Marrero's got a couple questions. Johnny says, favorite moment from today's episode of Dino Fury, definitely the Solon and Amelia stuff. That was definitely my favorite, along with some of the original fight footage that we wind up getting. Just love the wisdom that came from our cybernetic dinosaur in here, and really kind of helping Amelia kind of step back out of her own feelings for a little bit and start approaching things significantly differently. So the Solon and Amelia stuff I thought was great because not only does it give us a moment to breathe a little bit and hit us with some great emotional sort of moments of the week, if you will, but also really lets Hunter Deno kind of shine a little bit and get a little bit more sentimental and drama aspect outside of her her overly enthusiastic self from time to time. So I thought this was a really great showcase for Hunter in general. With Hasbro now in charge of making new Power Ranger content as well as new Sentai adaptions, how much new Power Ranger content can we expect in 1 year? Well, to clarify, Johnny, you say with Hasbro now in charge of making new Power Ranger content as well as new Sentai adaptions, which we don't know we're going to get yet. Just to clarify, how much new Power Ranger content can we expect in 1 year, like what Marvel is doing after Dino Fury ends, after PR movie reboots premiered? I think it's going to be a while before we have multiple Power Ranger stuff on at once. I am under the impression that we'll probably get a Power Ranger movie first. If they do end up doing Sentai footage, then after Dino Fury, I wouldn't be surprised if we do get ourselves another Power Ranger thing. But I think that'll probably be the only Power Ranger thing on television until we get ourselves the movie. And I think once we get the movie, then we'll start getting additional Power Ranger content out there as well. So I don't think we're anywhere near Marvel level as of yet. Let's just put out a good movie first and see where we go from there. And then lastly, if they do continue with Sentai adaptions after Dino Fury, what Sentai do you want to get adapted, Q Ranger? And do you think it should be on Paramount Plus? Ooh, interesting. I would be open to something being on Paramount Plus, whether it be live action, animated. I do think that something will be on Paramount Plus. I think Paramount and I think Netflix are probably the two that really jump out at me for content in regards to that. So yes, I do believe so, but that's just me. I haven't heard anything or read anything. That's just my own personal expectation. Doomsday, what's up, Doomsday? Appreciate you coming through. I didn't see you in the live chat, but maybe I'm wrong. I'll have to go back and check it out. Who is your favorite Zenkaiger between Captain Marvelous and Luca? Oh, why you gotta ask me that question and make me pick, man? I'm gonna say Captain Marvelous. I'll say Marvelous. I do love Luca. I love her story. Coming from a very poor and impoverished sort of society, having the Zanyak kind of destroy your world, her losing her sister, really forms who Luca is in the series. Her love for jewelry and shiny things, right? Not having that in her life, but having an appreciation for it now and flaunting it. I love the fact that she's a real, like, just a no bullshitter, like you just can't get past anything past Luca, don't touch her. You know, she hates that shit. She elbows you, gives you fines if you get too close. I just love her sass and her wit and her personality. You know, she reminds me of just one of the guys, you know, can hold her own. And she's one of the establishing members, and so I think that goes a long way for her. So I do love Luca, and I love what she stands for. And I really love her personality with Captain Marvelous, but just seeing Marvelous's journey with Aka Red, you know, him becoming a pirate, also his connections with Joe, you know, the opportunities that he's given some of the other Rangers to be a part of the team, also seeing his personal growth as a Red, and his appreciation for being not only a Power Ranger, but or a Super Sentai, but also a renewed appreciation for Earth in general, right? I think he just has a really strong storyline. So yeah, Marvelous for me is my favorite out of those two. Which plot twist from Neo Saban era were you most surprised about? Lauren's reveal from Super Samurai, Tyler's dad being Aqua Ranger, or Levi Weston being Aiden Romero from Ninja Steel? Probably Lauren's reveal for Super Samurai. I don't believe I had watched Shinkinger at the time, so I definitely was surprised to kind of see that reveal. But yeah, that probably was my favorite, and I still love Lauren to this day. I think Lauren Sheba should be getting a ton more opportunities on screen in some way or another. That's one of the reasons that I fell in love with Kyle Higgins' writing in Shattered Grid and just loved it so much more. The fact that he allowed her to be a really big, at least a focus in some of those issues for sure. So for me, if I had to pick, probably Lauren. Marcelino Vasquez. Colby Strong, the actor of Blaze, recently confirmed in an interview that the reason why Human Blaze and Roxy were ignored was because of two reasons. By the toy company's perspective, Robo Blaze and Roxy are more profitable at selling toys than their human counterparts. Huh? Okay. He and Liana were told that it would be too confusing for young kids if there were two sets of Blaze and Roxy. He completely disagrees. Yeah, I completely disagree. Again, the mindset of treating kids like they're fucking idiots. You know, listen. Okay. So number one, by a toys company perspective, Robo Blaze and Roxy are more profitable to sell as toys than their human counterparts. How so? How so? Like, just because you turn them human doesn't mean you can't add a storyline concept of them being human now, but still being Blaze and Roxy. Like, you can still sell the same toys. Like, the toys of Roxy, like, they don't have to have a new name. You can still sell them as Blaze and Roxy. Like, just now they're human form and storyline, but they still maybe have the subconscious of the even villains and maybe still play both sides of the coin, right? You can still have them be Blaze and Roxy. So thus you can still sell their toys. So come on, guys. Come on. Is the toy companies really using that as an excuse? God, fucking idiots. And then Liana, and they were told that it would be too confusing for the young kids if there were two sets. Why do there have to be two sets? Why do they have to be two sets? See, that feels very much like the writing aspect of Beast Morphers screwing up their own opportunities, right? Because if you present this idea of, well, then we're going to have a human version where they're fine now, but then we're going to have other other parts of themselves also that are just robo versions, right? Like that's more confusing to me than anything. But if you at least highlight the fact that you can make it obvious storyline wise that these characters are still evil, even though that they're roaming around, you know, incognito as Blaze and Roxy. I gotta agree with Colby. I completely disagree. I completely disagree. And I wonder if the toy companies went into that mindset because of what was written down in the story. And I just think you could have pulled off some amazing storytelling had you kept the consciousness of evil Blaze and Roxy into a human form, because not only do you then get Colby Strong and Liana Ramirez to be on screen, but you also give them just more character depth and more storyline to sink their teeth into, to have some fun with, to put on this act when they're around their ranger friends that they're goody two shoes and they're all on the same page, but sneak away and still have their evil subconscious still attacking the Power Rangers. And now the Power Rangers have to figure out a way. How do we stop these guys? They're our friends, clearly, right? The consciousness in our friend's body. We can't just destroy them and kill them. We got to come up with a smarter way to go ahead and save their lives. And I just think, that almost kind of takes away from the intellectual idea of having to write more creatively. It just, that's just disappointing to hear. What would your response be if someone told you you shouldn't be too critical or harsh on Power Rangers or any other fictional movie or TV? It's fictional at the end of the day. You shouldn't let it affect your personal life. Your family, career, and education should come first and everything else second. These are not my words. I'm talking about a hypothetical scenario. Don't attack me or bash me. No, I would never attack you, Marcelino. Kidding me? What would you say if your response, if someone told you you shouldn't be too critical or harsh on Power Rangers or any other television or show? I will say this. When I do my reviews, I never go into the mindset of I got to talk about just the positive points. I do try and do my best to be as fair as possible when it comes to balancing out the good and the bad. If I enjoyed an episode and I loved it, I'm gonna gush about it, But if there are some things in an episode that wasn't the biggest fan of, I'll definitely go ahead and talk about it. The idea of being overly critical and stuff, I guess it just depends on how an episode hits you. It's television and it's movies. So every episode is going to affect somebody differently. But I think as a fan and as a part of the fandom, I think we have a right to criticize what it is that we watch. What I would say is that if you are going to criticize a show, though, be as constructive with your criticism as you can, right? I think some people can just go bashing for hours on some things. For me, I would say if you're going to spend that same amount of time bashing something, I would also say maybe find a balance to it. What else did you like about the show? Right? Give some creative criticism, some constructive criticism, if you will. But I do think as a fan, we all want our franchises and our shows to be better and to certainly get better. I think the problem then becomes when we put our own expectations at the feet of the showrunners and the people that create it, in the sense of, oh, I didn't like this episode, so you've got to do it this way, or this is going to suck. That's dangerous. That's a dangerous mindset to get into. I think it's okay to be critical of a show, have suggestions to make it better, but never demand something of the people that are creating it. So I think there should be a balance. You can be critical for a show, absolutely. But at the end of the day, I think if you're going to be harsh and critical on the show, maybe just be open-minded to point out what did you like about it, maybe also. You know what I mean? But I think we all have the right to point and pick out things that we love or hate about it. Doesn't make us haters unless, and that's another reason why I always say be constructive with your comments and your critical aspects of it. If you're just bashing and hating on something just to bash on it and not be open-minded to change and to improvements, then you're definitely drinking that haterade. But I do think that there's a significant difference of somebody just being critical and somebody being a hater. You know what I mean? So it doesn't bother me. I'm going to give my perspective on how I felt about a show. If I didn't like the episode, I didn't like the episode. Doesn't mean that I think that the series is crap. It just means it just didn't hit me the right way. And here are the reasons as to why. And here are some of the things I would have done differently. If the showrunners want to do that or not, that's certainly up to them. But I think as a fan, we have the right to talk about the shows that we love, however we certainly want to. But I would just think we should all be constructive with that criticism. I know this would never happen, but I would love to see a season of Power Rangers where the theme song acts like an opening anime, where the song changes every 15 episodes and new scenes are shot exclusively for this show to foreshadow the upcoming events. It would never happen, but a guy can dream. I do like that idea, Marcelino. I definitely agree. There is like an aspect of even Super Sentai when they change it mid-season or they add more things to it mid-season. I always love just the difference in the creativity that goes into changing things up a bit. So I would agree with you there. That would be a great change of pace. Like for me, Zenkaiger doing an early like recaps before each episode, I think is new and really cool. Like having Shin kind of give us a brief update as to what we missed in the previous episodes. I don't recall that happening in other Super Sentai seasons. If I'm wrong, somebody remind me of another Super Sentai season that did like the previously on type of moments. But I think that's a great way to go into the season. And I was always a big fan of I'm a big fan of the theme song and dance. But yeah, I love the changes. So I agree with you, Marcelino. That would be pretty cool. L'Oreal, you've got a couple questions. Doesn't that monster in Dino Fury remind you of the Blarney Stone? That accent gives it away. Blarney Stone? Yes. Blarney Stone. Why am I drawing a blank? What's the best part of the episode? For me, again, Solon and Amelia stuff I thought was pretty great. Anytime Mucus is on screen, also, I think is brilliant. And, you know, I enjoy the personality of Pop Pop. He reminded me of somebody from up north. Like, why is he talking like that? Like, where does Amelia's family come from? Her family definitely is not originally from Pine Ridge. I can tell you that much right now. She's definitely not originally from that town. So I would like to see where her family originates from. Doesn't Ollie remind you of Tommy Tomo? A little bit. I do want to see a little bit more from Ollie before I completely refer to him as Tommy Tomo. But in regards to that guy that doesn't mind talking back and being very headstrong, yeah, definitely. Let's see here. Dino Fury. My name is Carl. What's up, Carl? What are some of your favorite scenes or episodes from the Disney era and Beast Morphers? Well, I tell you right now, Beast Morphers, for me, and I can't believe the musical episode from Beast Morphers for me was by far one of my favorite episodes of this season, if not of the Neo Saban era. This whole era and past decade or whatever the case may be, I really loved this musical episode. I thought the episode was just so unique and different, and it took a chance, and it really allowed the actors to just do something different, and it had a great message. I mean, damn, I ate up the musical episode. So for me, it's definitely the best episode of that era for sure for me. I was going to say even the Halloween episode from Beast Morphers was fun just because of the great accents. Devin trying to do that was a British police officer. You had Zoe as the Viking, which was just memorable in so many ways. Definitely some of my favorite seasons for sure. Let's see here. What did you think of Dino Fury so far, and what surprised you to see and what surprises you want to see when the show returns from hiatus? And would you like if we got a small teaser for season 2? Yeah, I'm not expecting a teaser. That would be pretty cool, though, if we got a teaser at Hasbro Pulse. But I don't know if you would want to give me a teaser for season 2 when we literally have 2 more episodes before the hiatus. You know what I mean? Don't give anything away as of yet. But so I expect one during the summertime for sure before it returns. But I'm not expecting one as of right now. Some surprises. I mean, more stuff from the Gold Ranger. I definitely would love to see a Beast Morphers team up if we even get one. If not, I definitely would love to see some returning actors from New Zealand that might have been in past Power Ranger seasons. I think that would be pretty cool. Like Xander, I believe from Mystic Force. Isn't he from New Zealand? maybe have him sort of pop up. I think that would be pretty cool also. I don't know. I think they could have some surprise returns that aren't too over the top, but that really fit in this season well. I would be okay with that. Do you think Power Rangers and Super Sentai lately haven't? Do you think Super Sentai and Power Rangers lately haven't made dark seasons? And why do you think people want Q Ranger to be adapted? And if they were adapted, do you think 12 Rangers would be a downfall, just like Dino Charge that had 10 Rangers? I do think that it would hinder the season a little bit, but I think it just depends on how you get your season ready. If you bring people in that know how to handle those type of characters, I think you could do something special with it. For me, one of the things that always appealed to Q Ranger was I always looked at it as I think it would be a fitting anniversary season for a show like, say, in space, if you wanted to go ahead and build off on it, another way to celebrate Power Rangers by bringing back a theme of space that was so popular back in the Saban era. So I would love to be able to bring back some of those actors from the In Space saga and and have this Q Ranger adaptation sort of be an extension of that world that we wind up getting. Plus, people love outer space and the stars and constellations. I always just thought it had some really great themes from Q Ranger that would work out well. But for me, what always appealed to me was the idea of it being like a 30th anniversary season and highlighting in space, if that was the case, just because I loved In Space so much. So do I think Super Sentai and Power Rangers lately haven't made dark seasons? I don't know if you're asking, do I think they haven't or why I think? But yeah, no, I don't believe that they've been dark at all. Although I feel like Kira Major has had some serious elements to it. As fun as it was, there are some dark vibes in there from time to time in regards to just the personal vendetta and some of the things that were at stake with those characters, because it felt very much like a family affair. And anytime that you have brother versus brother, or, somebody trying to take out your family, that's some personal shit, like that does hit very close to the core. So, but yeah, I mean, as far as dark seasons, yeah, it's been a minute. I just think maybe the times have changed, and they just want to highlight some things a little bit differently. Especially now into the Rewa era that we're currently in. So they're definitely bringing some lightheartedness to kind of start off that Rewa era with Kara Major and now Zenkaiger. But we'll see. We'll definitely see. Like Zenkaiger for me, while definitely lighthearted and it could be kind of chaotic and a little bit all over the place, it does tackle some really important messages, social awkwardness, prejudice, looking down on oneself, you know what I mean? And having to build yourself up. There are some really interesting concepts and themes that they tackle. So without being overly dark, you know what I mean? So we'll see if it changes. It's just funny. Again, when we were talking about the idea of, Power Ranger, like me doing Go Ranger and going through that very first season, seeing how dark it is and some of the curse words that wind up dropping, right? You can see how much time has definitely changed over the years in regards to it. So there are aspects that I definitely miss, but I get it. I get it for sure. All right, guys. And I think other than that, that will wrap up all of our that'll wrap up all of our live viewer questions, guys. So thank you everybody for your continued support each and every week, man, with your questions. It definitely does go a very long way. We're about 2.5 hours in, so we're probably going to go ahead and actually wrap up this episode, guys. But listen, let me see who else we got here. I'm Handsome Dude says, do you think Boom Tower is kind of like Scrozzle won't die? No, I'm expecting Boom Tower to bite the dust here rather soon. If he doesn't buy the hiatus by episode 8, I would be surprised. But then again, I feel like Boom Tower in the show, he randomly pops up. He randomly pops up in Real Soldier. Like you feel like he's gone, and then Homeboy like seems to pop back up like 1 or 2 more times throughout the season, briefly, but you do see him again. But he is taking out, I feel like, fairly early in the season. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why I think I don't think he'll be like Scrozzle. I do think that they might kill him off maybe by the end of episode 8, because he feels very much like a general right now, in regards to just the fact that he's there with Mucus, working alongside with Void Knight. He's not really sort of utilized as that villain of the week as of yet. So I do think that I do think that he eventually will bite the dust here. He feels very important right now. But so yeah, if anything, I would probably say he'll probably bite the dust by either episode 8 or maybe like one episode into the hiatus, if I had to put my money on it. But that's just me. All right, guys. Other than that, I think that's going to go ahead and do it for us as always. So, guys, thank you so much for spending your time here with us as always. We will, in fact, be back next weekend with another live episode of A Plus Hero Report. This weekend also is Easter weekend as well, so definitely go ahead and enjoy it as much as you possibly can. We also have a Zenkaiger review coming for you guys this week every Toku Tuesday. We love to highlight you guys with not only a Gokaiger reaction video, but also our Zenkaiger and Kamen Rider Saber reviews as well. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, guys, along with that bell notification. So when we do drop brand new videos or go live, you will certainly be notified. If you want to follow us on social media, we're going to be right here at A Plus Opinions. You can find us very active on Instagram as well. Excuse me, very active over on Twitter, as well as our Facebook page, which we also stream live on. You can check us out over on Instagram as well as Twitch for you gamers also. Again, if you want to support our channel monetarily, if you can afford the $1 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, go ahead and certainly check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/A+opinions. But other than that, guys, we'll certainly see you guys next week for another episode of Dino Fury Review and rounding off your week with Power Rangers and Tokusatsu news and reviews. But until next time, guys, do me a big favor. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as always, keep it A+. May the power protect you. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.